Welcome, guys. Welcome back to the Fast Life Podcast. Once again, my brother is not with us. He's back in Texas. I'm sitting actually in John Jessup Dream Ride's office right now trying to record this intro right before the bike night, obviously. Man, this trip's out here so far has been pretty dope, man. I ain't gonna lie. Me and my wife, we jumped in the truck and, we rode up through Taos, New Mexico and stayed in Durango. From there, we kind of jumped in, rode some, we're in the truck, so we're driving through some really nice roads. Went through Moab. Moab is a fucking dope spot. I want to go back and hang out there and chill and whatnot. So, man, I don't think I'm gonna do Sturgis this year. I know I've been saying, all about how badass it is, and it totally is, and I totally would love to go. But this route that we took up here to NorCal has been super inspiring. I really, especially, I don't know if you saw the pictures of the salt flats, but wow, dude, that place is it's crazy. I don't even know how to explain it. It's just so dope that I really just want to take a bike there. I think I was telling somebody yesterday that I basically want to do the same route that I did to come here to NorCal on my bike, and I think that's what I'm going to do instead of Sturgis, is just do a long ride, come back to NorCal, do as much coastal riding as I can. There's still a mudslide down below Big Sur and north of San Luis Obispo, so maybe even drive further north and then come down to San Francisco and then, blast down to LA and, just have a good time. That's what I think I'm going to do that next time. So, but being up here has been cool, man. It's been cool to see a lot of friends and catch up with guys like Jay from Fab 28. I sat down with my buddy Brian from, he works for Ness. Just left Sinister Wheels. Me and him had a long talk. He was giving me some insight on what's been going on in the wheel industry. And now I'm sitting here back at Dream Rides, a couple hours before the bike night's going to kick off. And after this bike night, me and my wife are going to be headed to Monterey Thursday. So I think I might release this tomorrow. So if I do, we'll be in Monterey and then we'll be headed down to LA this Friday. We'll be down in LA Friday. And I got a few people I'm going to talk to down there, or at least one for sure that I just talked to this morning. I think that you guys are going to want to hear from. So pretty stoked about getting down there and getting the podcast recorded, and we're going to be celebrating my wife's birthday down there as well. So I'm pretty excited about that. I'm also excited to get back to work because we just picked up a shit ton of bikes to paint, and we got to take them back, and we already have a shit ton of bikes and a shit ton of helmets. So I'm kind of like, oh fuck, But right before I left, I took down my FXR and my T-Sport motor to Mark. And I think I briefly touched on this the other day when I did the intro, but Mark at Texas Performance, he went through the T-Sport motor. It's not the crank wasn't bad. I mean, it was really good shape for the mileage, but it had I think he said it had a kink in it or some weird shit like that. I don't know, mechanic terms, I guess you'd say. So we're gonna pull that thing apart, or Texas Performance is gonna pull that apart for us, get the crank dialed the right way. And I think he talked me into doing the SNS 100-inch kit, so I'm pretty stoked about doing that. I think it'll feel pretty badass on that lightweight Dyna, that T-Sport, so I'm pretty stoked about that. I've been really thinking about a lot of different angles of how I want to build this bike and just go from there, so I'm pretty excited about it. I hope you guys will check it out too, but, like I said, Texas Performance, Mark, he's a sponsor of this podcast, and he's doing some rad shit with our bike, and he does some rad shit with his own stuff, so I'm just excited for this whole project. I'm glad that he's doing another motor for us and whatnot. Probably be taking in my transmission as well. So if you guys don't follow Mark and you still listen to this podcast, I don't know what the fuck is wrong with you guys. Mark is Texas Performance MC online, also on IG. Just go give that dude a follow, man. Help his social media get bigger. That way he can get more reach. And you ain't got, just because you might be in Massachusetts and he's in Austin, follow that motherfucker, man. He's doing cool shit, and he's a real biker, so support those kind of guys. You know what I mean? That's what it's all about. If you're in Austin, lucky for you, or if you're in Texas, lucky for you. Mark's got a full service shop. He has all the parts, and he has a lot of shit in stock. I don't know if he has everything in stock, but he has a lot of stuff. It does full tuning, dyno performance, all that good shit. Everything you want, he does. And if he doesn't do it, guess what? We do it. So check out Mark. For all your shit, whatever you want to do, motorcycle related, repair, customizing, performance, he's your dude. Also, I think I mentioned as well, on this trip, we're going to be stopping in Phoenix, and we're going to be sitting down with Brian. I think his name's Brian. Brian from Paint Huffer. It's just his PayPal is like Jamie or something. I don't know. It's weird. But yeah, Brian, we're going to be sitting down with Brian from Paint Huffer. I'm really stoked about that. I know we've been doing a lot of motorcycle guys on this podcast the last couple, episodes. So it's going to be good to get some more paint related industry talk back on there. And I'm going to try to keep it balanced with you guys. Keep some painted stuff, some fabricating stuff, some bike stuff, just everything that I hope you're interested in, basically. But Paint Huffer, you can follow him on Instagram at Paint Huffer Metal Flake. He's always posting rad ass painter shit. So I mean, dude, if you need some inspiration, you can get it there. If you need to find a good painter, you can get it there. If you just need to find some good goddamn flake and pearl to put on your bike, you definitely can find it there. So check out him at painthuffer.com and Paint Huffer Metal Flake on IG. Also, don't forget about our guys at Horsepower Inc. Like I said, again, we're going to be, as soon as I get back, we're going to knock out a couple projects. And I believe me and my brother are going to be jumping on the he's going to jump on his Dyna, and I guess I'll be on my bagger because that's all I got right now. And we're going to blast up to Indianapolis, man. Like, I'm really looking forward to doing like a road trip for the podcast. So I'm pretty excited about that. I think it's going to be fun. And I'm interested to get to know the company of HPI. I mean, so far they feel like really down to earth and like approachable and really into motorcycles. I could be wrong. I don't think I am, but I'm pretty excited, man. I'm pretty excited to go check out their operation, check out everything they got going on, check out Indianapolis. I've never been there, so pretty stoked about that. But yeah, if you don't follow these guys, it's Horsepower Inc. on Instagram, Horsepower Inc. Indy on Facebook. And if you want to go to their website, they sell a lot of products. And they're doing some cool shit on. If you're not following them on Instagram, they're posting some cool shit on some. I think they're doing a Born Free build right now, and it looks fucking rad. So check that shit out, man. Horsepowerinc.net. Obviously, they're the company known for big throttle bodies, and they do all that shit, big intakes and throttle bodies and air cleaners. And they're a horsepower company. Their fucking name is HPI, Horsepower Inc. Come on, man. Check them out. If you're in Indianapolis, their shop is a full-service shop as well. They do dyno tuning and performance stuff for all the V-twin motorcycles out there. So if you're looking for someone to get your shit dialed in, they're right there, and they're doing badass shit, obviously. Also, don't forget to check out us, man. The Fast Life Garage on Instagram. Don't forget to follow Jesse, Fast Life Jesse. I think he got tired of me talking about it. It's all one word now, so Fast Life Jesse. Check him out. Our Patreon's been going good. I found out how to get the money out of it. So thank you guys for the ones that's done that for us, and we appreciate it. And that's going back into this. You know what I mean? And I think the guests that I got coming up for you in the next couple of months, and hell, the next couple of weeks, even the one you're going to hear today, I think is really good. To be honest with you. So I think that that $1 a month, I think it's worth it. I really do. I hope so. I hope you do too. And for those of you that are pledging a lot more than $1, man, I can't thank you enough. It's really helping out, and it makes us want to do this more, and and it gives us a little bit more of an incentive to get it done as well. And also, when we jump on that bike to go to Indianapolis, which we're going to give you a lot of good podcasts out of that trip, that Patreon is going to help us keep the gas in the bikes. You know what I mean? And it's also helping keeping things separate from like our paint business and then this podcast. Keeping it to where I'm not painting bikes to go do this as well. So. If you're looking for a link for our Patreon, man, go to our website, which is fastlifegarage.com. And right on the front page, you're going to see a link to the Patreon, iTunes, YouTube, which, trust me, the YouTube shit's going to happen soon. I just learned about something for doing videos. I think it's called a TriCaster, where it's basically like, you hook it up to your computer. So as you're doing the podcast, which we're already doing, you also have this other box that hooks up and actually does video and records it all into one. So we'd be able to put some video podcasts on our page. Not to mention, we're still actively looking at getting more actual video content of what we do at our shop, on our bike trips, and other things in the meantime. So, it's better to go ahead and be subscribed to our fucking YouTube page than catching to it late. So, and also all that shit helps us, man. So, sometimes just that like or that thumbs up or that review or that 5-star or 4-star. Hopefully, if you're not gonna listen to our shit, then don't listen to it. Don't give me bad ratings just because you're not into this shit. I guess that's how it works. I don't know, but just help us out. Sometimes if you're not into giving us $1 a month, that's cool. At least if you get something from this podcast, review it, like it, share it, let other people know about it. it's really humbling just seeing how many people do dig it. And if you think it's cool, then I think other people might as well. And, so let it be known, I guess you'd say. As I said before, we're sitting here at Dream Rides up here on Wilson Way. I think I just saw a hooker walk by just now. It's crazy out here, but it's so fucking fun. It's alive. And you're going to hear about that in this podcast. We sat down with Brian from TPJ. And I don't know if I talked about it because it was last night and we talked for hours and hours and hours. But, I've known about TPJ for a while, ever since kind of back in the day when I was, kind of in the industry before the Dynas and the Bagger stuff. I've heard of them and things like that. And then, of course, when we did the podcast with Joseph, he had brought up, like, man, you should go see my boy Brian, TPJ. And then I started, all you guys that listen to our podcast on here started telling me about it. So I reached out, and he was down to sit down. And, man, I'm fucking so thankful that you guys put me in contact with this guy, because the bikes that he's building, I had just left Fab 28. Me and Jay were talking. We were talking about some things we want to do as far as, like, a bike build and kind of some industry things that are kind of changing. And then I go over to this dude's house, and he's doing exactly what I'm thinking about doing. And he's been doing it forever, and it's just sick, man. Like, and this dude rides his bike, man. So it's like he's everything I love about a motorcycle builder. So I think you'll hear me a lot in this podcast talk about how, how badly I want guys like him to be more vocal and be more seen and respected and whatnot, even if it is because he has a lot of opinions, But this dude's been in the industry for a long time. And from what I've seen at his house, in his shop, and hearing, his story, which we segue off so much it's retarded, but just hearing it all just makes me like a huge fan of this guy. So, like I said, man, I hope you guys dig it. And, well, here it is.
Hey, guys. You ready to let the dogs out?
Fast Life Podcast.
Now we're good. All right. What's up, man? Tell her your name.
Brian, TPJ Customs.
Nice. Hey, we had to stop our conversation because we were getting way too deep into motorcycles. We had to get these mics turned on.
Waste all the good stuff.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah. So I just met you basically, and we've already been talking for 30 minutes and shit. So like, I know you've been in the industry for a long fucking time now. I mean, just from some of the stories.
Were you trying to say my hairline is pretty far up there?
My hairline's right there. My hairline's right there, dude. But just in general, like, you've been in the industry for a long time. So like, I want to know, like, what was the start? Like, what was it? Motorcycles when you were a kid, and then kind of progress?
Yeah, like, fuck. They always say what you can't have when you're a kid is what you want. And so my dad was a paramedic. And it was absolutely no motorcycles. Show me pictures of dudes missing heads and shit. Like, this is from an accident. You don't want to do this, Well, the first thing I want to do is ride a motorcycle.
Yeah, go get one now.
So, right after I moved out of the house at 18, I had a dirt bike. And just escalated from there. I loved being on the bikes. I loved the two wheels, the feeling of it, taking off in the desert, riding the tracks.
Yeah.
And then I fucking snowmobiled all the time. And this buddy of mine said, hey, I'm building this chopper. Like, what the fuck,
So what time frame was it? Like, what year?
Dude, I think this was 99. Mm-hmm. So I bought my first frame. I bought a CFL frame before Jesse was even on the Motorcycle Mania.
For real?
So, like, I want to say my frame was registered 0000311. And so I think I was like 99, 2000, something like that. So he's like, I'm building this bike. I said, oh, cool. You're taking a bike apart and changing it. He's like, nah, man, fucking building a bike, Mm-hmm. I'm like, all right, cool. He's like, I bought this frame. I got an engine. And I was like, the fuck, you can't do that. Like, what are you talking about? So long story short, I started looking into it. And I'm like, all right, I'm building this bike. So I sold everything I had. Anything of any value or any dollar I had went into this bike.
Yeah.
Overpaid way too much for parts, Bought shit that was wrong. But all I did was every night I sat in this apartment that I had, little 1-bedroom apartment, and read magazines. Mm-hmm. Like, I had no one to teach me shit about bikes, except for these guys that are badass in these magazines.
Yeah.
And so I'd look and see, oh man, this guy spaces this off to the side, or this is, So, like, long story short, that jumped it off. That jumped I always loved the motorcycles. As soon as I got one, then all of a sudden the creativity of them, like, oh, you can change this. You know,
Yeah.
you can make it the way you want it, you know.
You said you used to get the magazines and you used to like find inspiration through that. Dude, that's exact. I mean, dude, I still have all my old motorcycle magazines. You know, I those things are almost as important to me as like fucking my yearbooks from high school. Like, I just don't want to get rid of them because,
Yep.
you know, even though right now I don't have the fucking time to go flip back through them, but
And you know what they say, you don't have to. You don't have to flip through them.
But you know, like you can find so much. Even now, like sitting now, going back to some of those magazines dating back to early 2000s and just checking out what they were doing on choppers. You can, or even just Harley Davidsons, or even back. I used to do lowrider magazines. Like seeing what was done, you can find new inspiration to help change what's going on now, because it's really easy getting a rut, like we were just talking about, of just doing what's popular, what's cool.
Yep.
And you know, being nervous and very self-conscious about going off the beaten path and doing what you want to do, and what, you know what I mean. So
people are always worried about what other people think, and I think that's one of our biggest problems as humans. Like, who gives a fuck what anyone thinks? Do what you want, because at the end, they're not riding it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Oh, the seat doesn't look comfortable. I don't give a fuck. It's comfortable for me.
That's the best thing about, like, you know, like we were just talking about FXR Mike a while ago. Dude, the dude's been getting reamed by people online because they don't like his chopper he's building. And he said it best on the podcast. He goes, I never would have thought that chopper guys would give me shit about doing chopper shit. You know what I mean?
Yep. It's because you're not doing it the way they want it. And you're not in this little, like, fucking thing that they feel like you have to be, you know? It's just, why do you have to be that? That's why we're in this industry.
Yeah, you got to have this type of motor, this type of, you know, ratchet top trans, and, you know, all these different like terms that I don't even know what the fuck they are yet.
And that's what I was saying in there to you. Like, I love listening to Joe talk, you know, Joe Kidd, because he's like the FXD, the FXRT, and like I love motorcycles, but I don't know half of those fucking models. You know what I mean? And I ask John all the time, like, what's this? What's that? What's the difference between this one? You know what I mean? Like, it's got fucking 2 wheels and a motor, and it's badass. Like, why should it matter which model it is? You know, and not just picking on those guys. I'm saying that's in every aspect of it. Like, and it just shouldn't matter. You know what I mean? We all love bikes. Like, I'd ride a freaking mini bike every day if I had to. Like,
so you started getting the magazines, you got the frame. Like, what was that first build like? I mean, did you have to like teach yourself a lot of shit, or did you already have a little bit of a background?
I mean, I grew up as a mechanic. I grew up in like as a guy's apprentice. So I mean, I knew how to work on things. I knew how to tear things apart. But the fabs, you know, I mean, I was coming from farmer background where they had a stick machine, and you just slap some shit together, and if it held, it didn't care what it looked like. Yeah. So the first build was very hard for me because I had these ideas, but I didn't have the tools or any knowledge how to make them, you know? And so shit tons of trial and error, shit tons of, you know, like taking that thing home and putting it into my back room and measuring it 50 times, like, you know, okay, this is, let's, you know, and it was just immensing myself in that build. Like, that's all I thought about. That's all I did. And every time I earned $1, it was putting back in there. Yeah. I mean, I had the same shoes for 2 years. I had the same, you know, same shorts. So it was very trying, but it was very, you know, it was very educational, you know, and so I need to learn how to mount something. So shit, I remember so-and-so did an article on that. Oh, that's so you'd read that, and you'd go back and forth, and, well, man, why does 3 degrees? Well, you gotta learn about trail now, you know, and why are you changing this? Well, you want it to handle this way, and fuck, you don't just slap these together, you know?
You just brought up a good point that I always talk shit about this, because I don't like looking at how-tos in magazines. Yeah. But that's because I know I have YouTube now, and when those magazines were popular,
fucking, we didn't have. I mean, I was on Nextels back then. You know what I mean? We're yelling at our friends in meetings because the Nextel was the coolest thing. You know, so there was none of that shit. Like, there was the internet, but
it was primitive.
I was poor as fuck too. Like, I don't have internet service and a computer, and you know what I mean. I can go buy a $7 magazine. Like,
exactly.
Well, they're $7 now, but
it's like $5 then.
So I mean, I hate that too. I agree, but there was so many good builders at that time. You know, I mean, there were so many good builders.
Isn't it a shame that there were so many good builders? Like I said, I went back and started watching all these biker build-offs, and these motherfuckers were building shit.
Dude, yeah.
Building shit. And then all it took was some OCC shit to clown the whole industry and overshadow all these talented people. And I'm not talking shit about OCC, but
they took what they did good and they made a shit ton of money on it. Yeah, it just wasn't relevant.
It just kind of clowned out what was cool about this shit. Yep. And you know, and like that completely overshadowed the talented individuals that were doing these choppers.
Oh yeah, you look at a lot of guys that were in that biker build-off series, and I mean, you saw one of them today. One of my favorite builders of all time, Greg Westbury. Like the dude is fucking talented beyond belief, but he doesn't fuck with motorcycles anymore because there's no money. You know, there's no money for his talent. There is. I mean, he does all the cool parts for people. But there's, no one's going to pay us 80 grand or 100 grand for one of these bikes.
Yeah.
Because that's how much time is into them. I mean, and Roger Goldhammer, another one. Fucking one of the best people in the world, building wise.
Yeah.
He just does his own shit, makes money his own way, and doesn't give a fuck anymore. Because he's not OCC. He doesn't throw shit. And he doesn't make theme bikes. And all his shit's so clean, and the normal people don't understand it,
Yeah.
And I don't mean that rudely to the normal people. They just,
It's almost like a lot of people expect a gimmick now.
Exactly.
Instead of just appreciating the craftsmanship of things.
Why can't it just be a nice bike? Yeah, exactly.
Why does your paint have to light up? Why does your stereo got to be obnoxiously like all these things that just like they really don't matter.
Yep, I agree.
And,
in the grand scheme of life, they have no purpose.
So was this like 2000, 2001? Like when'd you get it done?
So the first bike, it was registered in 2002. That's why I say I know it took me about 2 years to do, and I know when I paid that fucking registration. So got it done, and the first fucking day. This is the first, and I've ridden on the road before on dirt bikes, but I'd never had a street bike. I never had a Harley, and all of a sudden I built this custom bike. Mind you, I didn't build the frame, but built all the little pieces. Bought wheels from Exile Cycles before Russell was fucking huge. He was an awesome dude in his little office.
Is he up here? Or is he down in?
He's in LA.
So
yeah. And he was an awesome dude in an office that built shit with flat black that no one thought was fucking cool. They thought he was just. I mean, a lot of people liked him, but the mass public didn't. And so
because he was just kind of more arrogant, but he was just an honest. Like he just did what he did,
and his bikes were awesome. I mean, they were clean, they were sanitary. He rode the fuck out of them. You know what I mean? And so where the fuck were we going? Oh yeah, so I get this thing done. Yeah, and I'd never ridden it. Fucking my two buddies show up. They're like, these are guys I mashed with on the snowmobiles, and they pull up and they're like, "Let's fucking go for a ride." It's the first day. Just get it started. Like tighten in the clutch. Don't even really know the concept of the. I understand what a clutch is, and I understand, but how do you adjust this BDL? You turn it right and then click back a little bit, whatever. So we jump on this thing and we fucking go down to the Harley dealership in Stockton, which is maybe 30 miles, and we're mashing, splitting lanes, and I got there and I was like, that was one of the fucking coolest things. You've ridden tracks, I've done all this shit on dirt bikes, but it was just that power, of that motor. It was a little 80-inch. It had nothing, but it was just the torque.
Yeah, but the chopper. I mean, it's a bare bones chopper, so they kind of haul ass. So.
Exactly. And my first one was a jockey shift. So the first bike, it had a front brake, so I didn't go full out. But so you're mashing jockey, splitting lanes, not really even knowing what the fuck to expect, and it was the coolest feeling. And you feel like you were Harley Davidson, the Marlboro man. So many fucking years ago when I was like 8th grade. So. That pisses me off too. Sorry. That motherfucker Mickey Rourke said that was his least favorite movie he's ever done.
Well, fuck that dude, because I love that movie.
Thank you. That was
when he wakes up out of that hotel and you see that chick's titty, and then he just jumps on his bike. And
you see the S&S fucking cleaner rattling. You see there's just the PM calipers. Like it was badass.
That movie was a totally 80s movie. It was totally like some RoboCop shit.
Yes.
But it was it though.
It
was cool as fuck, and it was embodied because dudes used to do shit like that. Fuck it, I'm just gonna ride it to California. And
what was the worst part of all this is what fucked me in the beginning is I watched that movie. I'm in 8th grade, and then my parents tell me we're going to Chicago for a summer break. Okay, cool. Well, we're gonna take the fucking Wyoming, go through everything, go through the Black Hills. I don't know what the fuck Sturgis is. I'm in 8th grade. From Idaho to Chicago, it was nothing but bikes.
For real.
And I'm still coming off this fucking Harley Davidson. I thought he was the coolest fucking guy in the world. He gets on his bike and just rides around,
Yeah.
And then you go there and you're like, oh, I'm done, And so from that moment on, it was like, wasn't all I thought about, obviously, but it was always on my mind.
In the back of your head,
it's like, I will have a bike and I will do that someday. And luckily, I have been able to mash a shit ton of miles around this country,
Yeah.
And so anyway, that bike's the one that kicked it off.
One other thing I kind of noticed about a lot of that shit from watching those old biker build-offs is they kind of more were into the riding aspect of these bikes.
Yeah.
I mean, like I watched the most recent one I watched, because I grew up right down the street from Martin Brothers.
Yeah, I heard that. You were talking about that today, yeah.
Like literally his shop and where I went to high school is in the same town, and it's not a big fucking town.
Yeah.
And so when I got into bikes, it's like, of course, he was kind of at the ass end of the career. It's 2004 or 5, whatever. But I watched that one that he did against Matt Hodge.
Oh yeah.
And it was just so cool, watching these builders, build these bikes, and they met up and they rode the motherfuckers. And I remember whenever I was kind of behind the scenes on the one for Rick Fairless, that they had to ride, maybe not ride them all the way across the country.
It's still TV and it's fake, but it's still had to ride them.
Yeah, they had to put some miles on them, and they just kind of showed a good light on what motorcycling industry is. And I feel like those shows and those early was it Motorcycle Mania things that Jesse did?
Oh yeah.
That shit like really catapulted people's interest in motorcycle because it was really showing like the fun and how badass it is.
It wasn't your grandpa's Harley or your dad's that has his chaps on it.
It was like I said, it was just because of you put that power in too many people's hands and motherfuckers had to make it gay. You know what I mean?
100% agree with you.
It's like when it's only in 100 people's hands, you can keep it cool.
Yep.
But then when everybody and their mom is on it, there's no way you can't control it anymore.
No. And then as soon as they see a money sign,
the gimmicks start happening, and then your industry is over.
And then your industry's fucked, and you're pissed at it.
And you got to wait till these dudes let go of it, and then you can kind of creep back in silently and pick back up where you left off, and or you don't.
But in the meantime, you're the grumpy fuck that's always like, oh, back in the day it was so fucking good, And I'm not even gonna say their names, but there was 2 of my favorite builders ever. When they just said fuck it, I'm done. You know what I mean? They just quit, said fuck it, I'm done, and I always was like, what the fuck were you thinking? Why would you do that?
Yeah.
There's been moments in this industry now, recently where it's like, I understand. But then I always get kicked in the nuts, and I'm like, what else would I do? Like, yes, I can go get a job. I can weld. I can machine, whatever. I mean, that's fun and all, but it's nothing like what I get to do. Like, and so everybody bitches about their job. Shut the fuck up. You know what I mean? Like,
we all do. Yeah. I do it on the podcast.
Yeah, no one wants to hear about it. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, everyone has problems. So you just have to get to that point where you're like, no, this is what I like about the industry, and this is what I want to participate in. I just don't want to do the other shit, you know, until, like you said, until it comes back around. The biggest thing was we got some notoriety, we got this, and then all of a sudden the market fucking dropped in 08. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And like dropped, and this is when there was, we were doing a lot of cool stuff. So we were one of the 30 or 40 guys at the show, every show, because there just weren't hundreds of people anymore. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't because we were the best. It was just because we stuck it out. And we didn't give up and this and that, Didn't have huge payrolls, didn't roll around in big semi trucks. And, everybody went through that phase, the motorhome and the semi. And, it's like...
I always think about it, like, I don't ever see myself getting that big. But I always wonder, like, if opportunities came along for me to kind of catapult my business into that kind of... I just can't see myself... doing that.
It's easy to get sucked in, but then it's so much harder to get sucked out.
I mean, I think about it like, my biggest thing is riding bikes cross country. I love it.
Yep.
And I think about, okay, I love going to Sturgis. I love doing all these things. So how long, how many years of going to Sturgis is it going to take for me to be like, you know what, fuck it, I'm riding in the semi.
Yeah.
And I just don't know if I can say to myself now, I don't think I'd ever get that way, but
there's times where it just has to, like, I mean, not the semi, but there's times where like we have had to just load the truck and trailer up with all our shit because timing, business, and that's the other thing. It's a business. Like, I love to go to Sturgis and fuck off, but every time I've gone to Sturgis for the last how many years, it's because there's an agenda, and then we get to fuck off while we're there, and so. A lot of times I have to suck it up and say, no, I'm taking the truck with 7 bikes and the fucking, and the stupid fucking tent and all the bullshit. But then there's times where I've left here with one of my buddies and we put on 6,000 miles from here to Sturgis, and it's only, I think, 1,200 there. Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? So we went through 10 freaking different, national or not national and state parks, went through fucking just amazing stuff. So I've done each way and I think it, and a lot of the guys are like, oh man, you didn't ride. And it's like, yeah, I fucking ride all the time. And when I get here, I'm going to ride. But like, I have to take care of this business because if I don't, I'm not going to be around anymore. You know, and so it's a shitty
I think I just get real worried. I get really worried about like becoming what I talk about. You know, like becoming that guy, and I don't really want to say it in a bad way. Like, oh, these guys are all fucking sellouts, and I don't want to say it like that. But you know, like I said, I'm kind of going back on my statements. You know, I don't. It's just because when I was doing bagger stuff, I constantly saw people not riding them, only trailer them, and these are people that weren't around whenever we were doing chopper shit.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, so you guys just came on the map on a bagger, and you're still not riding it. So it's like you never really rode it.
Well, they weren't, and you said that today in that other in John's podcast. I heard, you know, it was like they never were into the bikes.
Yeah,
they were into the business end of the bikes, and then they went back to their power boats.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, and there's and that's where I was kind of going with that. You know, the 08 stuff. The people in the industry from 08 to 10 or, you know, maybe 12 at the most, fucking love motorcycles.
Yeah.
They gave up their fucking livelihood to be in that industry. We fucking trucked across the country. We went to show. I mean, we put up our own money to be at these shows. Like, we put up our own gas. We fed. I mean, it was goddamn expensive. And we did it because we loved the motorcycles. We weren't making shit.
Yeah.
Like, there was 3 or 4 shows you go to and you wouldn't sell a goddamn thing. But you were getting out there and you were still being relevant. And you were helping your friend that was another builder that's going to have the same guy that's going to want to buy shit that you do, but you just want to help him because you're all in this together. And then when the money started coming back, when the baggers and stuff, you know, is when I noticed it, is when the money started coming back, then a lot of the businessmen started coming back. And yes, they love motorcycles and they're interested, but
yeah, they're just kind of they dabble in motorcycles.
They see the money in motorcycles and they're smart. They're smart fucking guys. Like I'm not down in that. Like they know what they're doing in the business. I am the worst fucking businessman that you could ever see. I'm gonna sit down there for 25 hours on a piece that should take somebody 2 hours to put together. But I want it perfect. I want it exact. And if I got to redo it because I don't like it, you got to fucking redo it. You know what I mean? And so to me, there's never gonna be that money. You know, I mean, I'm never gonna be sitting in that front desk, like you said, you don't want to do what you talk about. I will never be the guy sitting on the desk and having other people build for me, because that is not me. You know, after the freaking the first hot bike thing and a couple other deals, I took on way too many jobs because I was like, oh shit, money, you guys are awesome. You know, I can do it.
It's like John said, you know, when after that little recession kind of thing, it's like you just wanted to take every opportunity and just scoop them off the street, you know.
But then that got to in John's spot. That's awesome because he can turn and burn.
Yeah,
you know, I mean, that dude knows that it takes 4 hours to fucking change this. It takes this long, and he makes money.
Goes,
Where I took on 4 projects, and each of them should have taken 6 months, and I told them all we're going to be done at the end of the year. You know what I mean? And now And then my problem is I love motorcycles. So the one I'm building, I totally immense myself in.
Yeah.
I think of, like you said, when you were driving, I think of the kickstand. Okay, I want to, I want this. I want to put the oil tank there. And it's all I think of every day, all day. And so then when I cloud 4 projects together and I got to work on, for a couple of days and then go to the other one for a couple of days, it's not fair to them. Like, and it put me in a position where I did not like working on shit.
Yeah.
And so that's where you have to be like, okay, you're what you didn't want to be. Step back and do what you're good at. You know, yes, this shit takes forever. I mean, you can't be like, hey, buddy, I'm going to have your custom full frame and everything done in 4 weeks, and I promise you,
handmade shit everywhere. Yeah.
I mean, I did 1 4-week build one time, and that was, it was miserable. It was 20-hour days, fucking every single day until the very last day.
It's crazy because a lot of people don't realize that, like, when you watch, like I said, referencing back to that, when you watch those old biker build-offs, and you see these people stressing out, and you're like, when you can build a bagger in 2-3 days. Like, if everything's there, you can build a whole fucking bagger, wire it up, put a stereo on it, air ride it, all that shit.
Yeah, because it's known.
And it's everything every bolt has a hole for it. You don't have to.
Yeah.
So when you see these people having to make all these parts and they're not to this part yet and this part, and then they got to build the whole thing and then make sure it's all right and then take it back apart to send it to paint.
Dude, I've been so deep into something that I've had to take apart 16 times because you had to get that one part right, but to get to that one part, you had to add these parts. Yeah. And it's like, and then every time you had to change that part, you had to take all these parts off. And so my wife is the worst at that because she's I don't mean rudely, but she's always like, so how much time do you have? You know, how many, you can be all right? You can be this? I'm like, well, I got this, and this to make. She's like, oh, that should be pretty easy. And then a week and a half later, you're still making the second part.
Yeah.
You know, because it's just so time consuming and every little piece has to fit. And that's my biggest thing is these things have to move. You know what I mean? So sculptures, guys that makes these art things, and even guys that build like freaking buildings. Yeah, they have a lot of like nature that they have to worry about, but it doesn't have to move. A lot of these things, we're going to get on and go 100, 125, 140 miles an hour, and everything has to work right.
Yeah.
They can't just look good because now, shut that. Or,
No, you're good.
And then now, you know, they have to look good. So like, it's amazing all the shit that you have to think out to make one of these bikes. And so, no one really gets that, you know?
So after you finished that first bike, like what was it after that? Did you just kind of like fall into the love of the thrill of building it? So you wanted to continue to do that?
I rode the shit out of that thing. I put probably 75,000 miles, 50, you know, it's hard to judge again, but I put anywhere from 55 to 70,000 miles within like 2 years. And that was riding it everywhere. I rode it down dirt roads. I rode it to fucking, you know, to Nebraska. I rode it to LA, you know, 100 times. And the whole time I wanted to build another one. And so like, that's all I was thinking about. And so I found this stupid bicycle and I started working on it. I was going to make a chopper bicycle, you know, and then, I sold something out of the blue one day and I had $600. So I bought this cheap, shitty, rigid frame and I just started building another one. And then one of my, the guy that I was the apprentice for at the mechanics deal, his son, who is, shit, I'm 40, he's 48, something like that. But this was 20, you know, it was a long time ago. So he came back to town and he's talking about building this bike, you know, and he's built this little Sportster and we would ride here and there, and he goes, well, let's build this other bike. You know, he goes, how about I put some money in, you know, you put some money, and we'll both build it together. You know, this is one, I've known this guy since I was a little kid. So we built this bike, and that was the first bike we ever took to a show.
Yeah.
And so, you know, the black one was cool. It was like, but it was really rugged. You know, I didn't have a mill, I didn't have a lathe, you know. So then we knocked this other one out, and then that was 04 is when we did that one. And that's when the 03 and 03, whatever, 04. And that's when the company started.
Yeah.
And so I was like doing my day job and then leave the day job and go do that for 7-8 hours, go to bed at like 1 and then be back up for the day job, you know.
So where'd the trailer park jumpers come from?
So the trailer park jumpers is old. So a lot of these guys, you know, like you're a perfect example. You didn't name it Jace's Garage, you know. It's like and there's nothing against that, but we're not none of us are Arlen Ness. You know what I mean? Like, so I never wanted to name my company my name, you know. And when I grew up, right out of high school, I moved up to Tahoe for like 4 or 5 years, and we were poor as fuck. We had 7-8 people in a house, you know, renting a corner that was ours, not even rooms, you know. And so we would get all the old return, you know, the lost and found stuff. We'd be rolling like 80s fucking stuff. And then we lived in a trailer park, and on our days off, we would go out and build jumps and stuff. And so these guys started calling us the trailer park jumpers. And so, you know, skip ahead 7-8 years. Yeah. When it was time, I was like, TPJ, you know, and for the first 5-6 years, I didn't tell anybody what it meant. You know, it was just TPJ, you know, and until I actually told one of the first people would remember it, but they'd be like, TPJ, BJT, you know, like they'd know me, but it wasn't like a sticker, you know. And then as soon as I told the first person, he's like, you dumb shit, why didn't you say this in the beginning, you know? So then everyone's like, trailer park jumper, and all of a sudden it kind of just went out from there. So
once you finished that second bike, did you like I guess here's another good question. Like, you had to teach yourself how to do a lot of things in the process, you know, and you said you didn't have a mill and a lathe and all these things.
Welder, yeah, exactly.
So, you know, what was that like? You know, not to like take away from you talking right now, but what scares me.
Your voice is better than mine.
I sound like a fucking hillbilly. But I'm super jealous of people that started that way. Yeah. You know, because like you get to start and work out those kinks as you're going, but you're not like already at a level, and then you got, oh shit, now I gotta learn how to build a bike.
Yeah, no, exactly.
And so like now it's like I want to do all this shit that I feel like, man, like why wasn't I doing this shit when I was 21? Why was I, you know?
Well, I was a piece of shit at 21, so I know that answer. But you know, and I wish I would have not been a piece of shit in high school too, and just like went and paid attention. You know what I mean? And I worked into the shop, but that was what I had to do to make
Yeah,
money.
you
And it
had
was
to.
like, I don't want to fucking do brake pads, and I don't
Yeah.
want to do this shit, you know? And it just gets to that point where you're like, I want to do this, and so I am going to fucking learn, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I arc welded. Like, I didn't know, I had a stick welder, you know? I went to the store and I was like, I want that TIG machine. The guy's like, well, you done it before? I'm like, no, fuck, you know? He's like, I'm like, I seen it done. And so he goes, all right, I'll give you a deal. You buy it today. It was a Friday. You can bring it back Monday if you don't like it. Like, okay, that's fair, you know? Hand him my $2,500, walk home and start welding. I fucking hated it. Friday night, I wanted to throw it in the garbage, you know?
Yeah.
But you keep kicking yourself in the nuts. And then eventually, Sunday morning, I'm like, this is the greatest fucking invention ever, you know?
Well, you know, like for what's happening with us or me, is it that excitement of making myself learn? I want to spend a whole week doing it.
Yes.
And, you know, I got to fucking,
Do your regular job.
yeah, I got to do all the regular shit.
And that was the problem at that time because
Yeah.
I was working on fucking vans during the day.
Yeah.
But all I'm thinking about is I want it to be 5 o'clock so I can weld that one tab on, so we can put that one thing on.
See,
you know,
this is the one big difference that you know, me and FXR Mike talked about this, is that while I'm sitting here doing my helmet or my paint job on a bike where I'm really need to be focused in and stuff, and there's a welding table over there that I want to go jump on,
yeah,
you know, there's no separation between that. Like if you had a job where you were there and you couldn't just like, you know what, I'm
Yeah.
gonna go dabble on this for a little bit.
yeah.
So it becomes like a distraction almost
Yeah.
from the stuff that I need to get done. But he had a good point. He said, well, why don't you just, instead of drinking, just go do this? So I'm going to try that for the
Yeah.
next 2 months.
It's probably better. I mean, I drank a lot when I was younger, and
Yeah.
there's going to be more time in the day, and
Yeah.
so there will be those times where you come in an hour. You know, you just come in an hour and fucking weld because you know
Yeah.
it's going to benefit you. You know, I'm the worst here because I'm here by myself. So if something's going to distract, I mean, I could be in the middle of a full build, and all of a sudden I see something that on my KTM in there that I wanted to change, and now all of a sudden I'm spinning a little thing on the lathe for that. No one's going to tell me not to.
Yeah.
And it's totally not the right business decision, but it's just...
It's like, fuck it, I
you
wanna
just
do
it.
this.
You know
Yeah.
what I mean? No, customers, I always am working on your stuff. No.
Yeah.
No, you know, I mean, it happens. You have
Yeah.
to keep your mind fresh. And to want to learn stuff, that's when I don't want to learn anymore. I don't want to be around anymore because and that's good to see, like the TIG welding. There's so many aspects of it that you can learn.
Yeah.
I mean, I would love to learn how to paint. I know nothing about it because I never had to. You know what I mean?
They're all rabbit holes, man.
Yeah.
They're all rabbit holes. And basically, like, I really want to be good at, you know, I mean, I'm good at paint, but, you know, like I've said plenty of times, man, there's some fucking dudes out there that are just insane. And it's because they found a way to kind of just stick with the paint and just keep honing and honing and honing. And I felt like for me, like I got to a good level where I can do paint well.
Yep.
And I can sell it well and make good money. And I should be continuing to invest in those skills. And I do, you know what I mean? I really do. But then you see the welder, and then you see like guys like you and these fucking dope ass bikes. And it's like, then, you know, I feel like at 18, like you felt when you wanted to build that bike.
Yeah.
Where now all I want to do in life is build a bike.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, and, you know, it's kind of, you know, it just sucks, man. It just sucks because there's only 24 hours in a day. It really is.
I mean, I've said that a million times. I
Yeah.
wish they were twice as long. I'd get way less sleep. That's the
Yeah.
only downfall. So, no, it's good to have that inspiration too, because that's what's going to keep this shit alive. You know, people that want to do. You know, don't get me wrong. I'd love for fucking Jesse James to build that first bike,
Yeah.
but I couldn't afford that. I could barely afford the $2,500 I had to fork out for the frame.
Yeah.
And forking out that $2,500 is the reason I started building my own frames, because I was like, wow, it's a really nice frame. But I feel like I could, you know, and I'm not trying to, I'm not saying it that way. But for $2,500, I
You
feel
can do it
like I
yourself.
could do a pretty good frame also.
Yeah.
You know, and then it just escalates from there, you know,
Yeah.
and so, you know, and then you're doing rigid frame, then all of a sudden you're like, well, let's try something different, you know, because like you said in the paint, you get to that plateau where you're like, not that I'm great at it, but I just want to learn something different. You know what I mean? There's dudes that build sick ass rigid frames and they they look awesome, you know. I've built a few, I love them, and now I want to do something different, you know, and so I just think that's what's good about this industry is people that want to continue to learn.
Yeah.
You know?
And not get stuck in one type of bike and not get stuck in one mentality and just kind of be open to. I've always said that every bike has a different experience, you know.
100%.
And it would be, you know, I always thought it would also be kind of funny and cool is if you took somebody that's known for building like club style bikes or FXRs, and you got your chopper guy, your rigid old school, and your bagger guy, and you made them all switch.
Yep.
And they had to build a bike that's not like their norm.
Yeah.
And see what kind of shit they can do within that style. And you might get a whole nother genre of a cool bike because people are looking at bikes they don't normally look at, you know?
Dude, that bike came from that exact concept. I had built I'd built 3 rigids for myself and probably 4 for customers. Rigid, some of them didn't have the front brake, some of them, you know, jockey shift. And we're at a show one day, and I'd built, I think that one back there. Yeah. So the one, it had carbon fiber wheel. No, the one, the green one on the table there.
Okay, yeah.
And I was, you know, carbon fiber wheels, that cool, you know, it was just a cool rigid chopper. And somebody was like, man, you're the rigid chopper guy. You fucking do, you know, that's what you do, man. You do the rigid choppers. And it just smacked, it was like a kick straight in the side of the head. And it was like, man, you're right. You know, and they all are different, and they all have their own styles, but...
To the outside looking
So you're telling me I can't make you know what I mean? I can't make a suspended bike? Yeah. And so then I just went totally the other way. I built a fully, you know, suspended with 12 inches of travel that you could jump and beat the shit out of.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm not building a soft tail. I'm not building, you know, a normal thing. So... And then it just escalated from there. So then I built a couple suspension ones, and then you get, you know, somebody... you've been doing these sport things all the time, and you fucking go back to the you know. It's, so, yeah, it's weird how that shit works.
It's the same thing for us in panels. Like,
yeah,
oh man, you're the panel guy now, huh? I'm like, it sucks because I never wanted to be, and I hated panels.
Yeah, but you got to eat.
But you know, it's what you guys want, so here you go.
Exactly, you got to eat.
Panel pancakes or whatever.
Well, and there's a lot of guys that see what you do and they can't do it themselves. And they have other talents. Don't get me wrong. You know, they have their own other talents.
Yeah.
But they can't do it, and they love that. And so I want to facilitate that dream for them if they can't do it themselves. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of guys that facilitate, you know, I mean, the guy who did my lawn the other day, you know, it looks beautiful back there. I can't do that shit. Like, it'd take me 3 times as long, you know? And so to find the right person for the right job, if you can't be that person, sometimes that's their dreams. You know, they're putting all that, they've looked at you for probably like 3 or 4 months. They've researched you before they even call you. And then they have this dream that they want fulfilled, you know? And so to piss on that, you know, that's just the worst thing. So, and that's where I got to that point where I felt horrible because I had a couple customers. They were good people. We got along great, but I took on too many jobs at the same time. And their dreams got pissed on because it took too long. Yeah. And then now their dreams aren't as cool anymore, you know? And so I have to eat that because that was my bad. Yeah. But that's something that you live and learn type deal, you know? And I felt horrible at the time. I still feel horrible, but I don't know what I can do but learn from that. You know, if I continue to stay in that path, you're a fucking dumbass. Learn, you know? Mm-hmm. But, you know, everybody learns. Everybody goes through their shit. So that was the one thing that I really felt bad is these guys have so much, you know, this tank, you know, I've just been staring at this every day for 4 months, you know? Yeah. And now you made him a tank and it's just what he wanted, but the experience wasn't as cool. You know what I mean? Yeah. And so that was I felt horrible on that a couple times, you know? But that's, again, that's, at least it was only a couple, you know what I mean? And so, I don't know.
Yes, it feels like, you know, a weird kind of dynamic because, you know, ultimately if the price tag's right, then, you know, you have the kind of time to not only do the work and spend the time thinking about it, but also be more aware of that customer's experience and being more like giving them the kind of like, you know, updates and feedback and shit that he probably really wants. Yep. You know, I avoid a lot of that stuff because I don't want to explain to him what's going on. I just want him to kind of like chill until I get him to somewhere where basically I want to give him a picture that's going to have the least amount of questions. Yeah. Well, you know? And you're an artist too, so you don't want him messing up your idea of what he wants. Yeah. You know what I mean? There's shit tons of times I have things all fabricated and people are like, I want pics. I'm like, you'll see it when it's done. Mm-hmm. Because my vision is halfway done here. Mm-hmm. And you're not going to get the picture and then you're going to want to change it. And you're not going to see what it was like, you know. And my wife, again, love her to death, best person in the world, but she's a perfect example of that. She'll walk in halfway through a build and, this looks good, you know, craftsmanship's great, but I just don't get it. And then at the end, she'll come in and be like, wow, you fucking nailed that. Like, I see how that came through. Mm-hmm.
And so it's hard, you know. I mean, you're an artist. You don't want, and you have a vision too. So you're trying to give
really hard to explain what's in your head and put them into words.
Yep.
And put and explain why and all these things and I get to a point where like, look, dude, just leave me alone.
Yep.
You know, and I don't talk to him like
no,
that.
but that's
kind of what it is. So I try to avoid like having to. Like, I want them to see, I do sketches. I do sketches of the paint job. I do sketches of what I do. This is kind of where we're going. It's not exact, but it's going to be on these lines.
Yeah.
And, you know, sometimes people see the sketch and go, like, dude, I trust you. Dude, just go. And I love it. And then some people are like, man, like, I don't know. That blue is a little off. I'm like, dude, it's a marker. I got 2 different color blues. You got to use your imagination on this shit.
Yeah.
You know, I'm like, I'm just trying to give you an idea of the balance of color, the flow of graphics. That's it.
Yeah.
You know, the color is going to be what you asked for, but this is the only color marker I got. So, you know, you get a lot of that stuff, but I try to give them a sketch, and then I try to wait till I know that the picture I send them is going to be good to look at.
Exactly.
And I always tell people this is like, if I show you the picture of the sketch, it's because I know I'm going to make that sick. Not because I'm like, it's whatever. That's what you asked for. No.
Yeah.
I'm stoked about doing what I just sent to you.
Yep, exactly.
You know? And sometimes I get mad when they're like, I don't know, man, that's just not it. I'm like, fuck, I want to do this.
You put all your time and energy into
while I'm sketching it, I'm seeing it take shape in my mind on the project, and I get more stoked about doing the job.
Yeah.
And then when they go, no, I don't like it, it's like, just, it crumbles the dream, you know what I mean? And then it gets, sometimes I got to wait another week.
Yeah.
I got to wait another week to let that one go away, and maybe I'll save the sketch for another paint job or whatever, and then I got to wait till something else comes up. But it's like 1 out of every 10 people it's like that.
Yeah. And it's, you know, it's just their vision is a little different, or it's hard because
they just can't see it sometimes.
How the fuck would I sketch up this bike?
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like I do shit tons of drawings and all my like mechanicals. It's all mechanical, you know, and it's parts here and this, but you can't see the flow, and you can't, you know,
you're not Chip Foosing it out with some fucking perspectives.
Exactly.
That
dude's fucking badass. Yeah, exactly. And so it's hard, like you said, it's hard to take your brain and tell them what they want to see, you know.
Mm-hmm. So after 2004, you did that second build. How did that catapult things? Like what was the next step after that?
So we got done with that build right as Easy Rider was trying their little fall swing tour. Mm-hmm. So they would do I think they did San Diego, Reno, Phoenix, markets that they never did. Mm-hmm. And so it was perfect timing. And so we took it to all 4 of them. You know, I was like,
they're all within reason. Yeah.
Look, they're all within 800 miles.
Yeah.
I have a job, you know, but didn't have a lot of money because I was putting it into these bikes. Mm-hmm. But I'm going to take some cash. I told them, look, these 4 weekends, I'm basically leaving Friday morning, you know, or Thursday night, whatever it entailed. And the first 2, we didn't get very many. It was, you know, we got like third place. And I was like, this sucks. Because I, again, see this bike as, wow, this is kicking down doors. This is my version of what chopper should be like fucking, you know, everybody else thinks. And so the last one was Reno, and we got one of the second place. And then Kirk Taylor, who's done like a bunch of the paint for us since then, he got first. And so it was like that first one. And so coming home from there, then this was again before social media. So it was like the picture in the Easy Rider magazine, you know.
It was worth a lot.
And then now all of a sudden our bike was in there, and I had a call from a guy that was local. And he's like, man, I saw you in the magazine, you know. And I was like, well, what do you mean? He's like, yeah, man, it's out this month, you know. It was because the Easy Rider would always put their event stuff right next, you know. Wouldn't be like 18 months later like their features.
Yeah.
And so I was like, oh, great, cool, thanks. And he goes, I want to come talk to you. I'm like, sure, you know, you come hang out all the time, whatever. And he shows up with fucking a big stack of fucking hundreds. Mm-hmm. And he's like, I want this bike, but I want this, you know. Mm-hmm. And he had seen Billy Lane, you know, how many biker build-offs was he on? 3 or 4 in a row. And one of the bikes that he really liked, he's like, I want that style, you know. And actually you can see that blue tank on the right, underneath down below. Yeah. With the flake and stuff, you know, it was a big old tank with the big dish sides. And so I did my best version of that, you know, for him. But it had to have my style. You know, Billy had his style. You know, he had all the bottle, you know, he had his style.
Yeah, he had his trinkets.
And his fucking style was perfect for him. And I had what I wanted to prevail. So, like, I did a kind of a mix, you know. And then we took that to a show, and then another guy came by, and then another guy came by. And then like a year later, I told my other job, I just can't do this anymore. Like we have enough builds that I need to come into work every day and do these builds.
Yeah.
And so then it just kind of, you know, and that had to have been 05, 06, something like that. And then I would just kept going every day, you know, and it was like one build after another. Or I did a lot of work for John in the beginning because he'd have like a fender that he needed to fit or something. And so he'd bring it down. I'd do a couple days, be gone, you know. We built a swing arm for him. Then we'd build some bars for him. And then he would bring customers in. And so a lot of the fab work I did was just parts and pieces for people, you know, and do like one bike a year type thing. And the bike a year would be for a customer, and then we'd take it around and get another build, you know. And my expenses were super small because I rented a spot out from the place that I had worked. So, no money going out, basically.
Yeah.
And that helps a lot in those shitty times, too. So, and then just kept trucking, you know, and then...
You know, we were talking about Billy Lane, and, you know, like I said, it's all fresh in my mind because, you know, I was there seeing the shows when they took place. I was there picking up those Easy Rider magazines back in, like, 2003 and 4. And, you know, you just, like, could you imagine what it would have been like to be that dude then?
Oh, I couldn't even imagine.
Like he would probably had more pussy thrown at him and shit thrown at him that there's no, like, it's unfortunate what happened with him and how that all went down, but
look what he's come back from that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like he's definitely come back.
He didn't come back with that attitude of, oh, fuck you, I did my thing and now I'm a douche again. Yeah. Not that he was I do not mean it that way. But you know what I mean? Like, now I'm back, you know? No, he came back with an attitude of, look, I want to do better, and I've learned from my mistake.
Yeah.
Like, we all have done stupid shit.
It's just so crazy, man. Like, I look at that, and then it's sad what happened, and you look at how much, like, momentum and, you know, like, the most famous of us on Instagram couldn't even touch how popular this dude was.
Oh, no. There's no question. Like, they didn't understand. Like, dude, he was the king of that time. And there's no question. Like, people paid him. And like I said, in every right, he did things that he stepped, like I talked to you before, he stepped out of the box.
Yeah.
He did not give a fuck. He made this bike the way he wanted it. That Misbehaving bike, his first one, the very first biker build off, still one of my favorite bikes of all time because he made it the way he wanted it. Mm-hmm. You know, I mean, he was like, look, I'm making the tank this way. And he made it that way. I'm ball milling this frame. And he fucking did it, you know. And so to me, I have nothing but respect for him. And I was an idiot for a lot of years when I was younger. And so I've been in those same situations where the milliseconds could have changed my life. Yeah. You know what I mean? And so I'm very grateful. Definitely not preaching because I don't, you know, I mean, I don't mean it that way, but like I'm very grateful that none of those things happened. So I can see how easily it happened to him. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's not everybody at first was like, fucking, you know, this, what did he do? This. No, you've all been in that situation. He just got stuck. You know what I mean? And so.
And they had to make an example out of him because of who he was and what he portrayed. You know, it sucks, man. You know, it really does. Like it's. The more, you know, then when it happened, I was like, it sucks to be him, man. But then I look back with an older and having got a DWI before and having done that shit, I'm like, whoa, dude, he did exactly what they talk about in those Mad Mothers classes.
100%. And that, I mean, like I said, I've almost been blown up. I've been in multiple car wrecks. I've been hit by a freaking car on a motorcycle. I've driven drunk way more than times when I was younger than I ever want to like think of or even imagine my son's like. You know what I mean? And so life could be so different in so many ways. Yeah. And so when I start trying to bitch about anything, that's where I look back. Like, look, people would fucking dream to get up every day and work on motorcycles. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And you just need to shut the fuck up and look at all the other things, you know? Yeah. So, I mean, John says it all the time. Again, life is good. Life's great. You know, life's fucking awesome. I wish I had that mentality all the time, but that's exactly what you need to do. Yeah. You know, like life could be so much worse. I just went to freaking the baseball game last night in Frisco. Saw a dude taking a shit, leaning up against somebody else's car, and he wasn't like because he was too drunk from the game.
I heard that was a thing in San Francisco.
The last 6 times I've been there, I have seen 2 women and 3 men take a shit there, and like right in front of me.
I hear about that shit all the time on Joe Rogan podcast, and you know you just brought it up too, and I guess it's a thing. It's like Union
Square should be a nice area, you know, nice shops and everything. Walked out of the hotel with my son. turn to the right, and a lady freaking pulls up her dress and takes a shit right in the middle of the sidewalk. And my kid's 10. You know, I mean, I want him to see these things because he needs to like.
He needs to know what the world's like. It's not Disney, right?
Yeah, I grew up rolling around in Stockton, so like, not that I, not trying to say I was in the hood, but I was in Stockton growing up, and I saw that shit. And it like, when you travel around the country, after seeing that stuff, you realize how different it is. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like the first place I moved to, my buddies would leave all the windows open and the doors open in our house at night, unlocked and shit. And I'm like, what the fuck are you people doing? You leave, the screen's going to get cut, dude. Someone's going to jump in here. They're like, what the fuck are you talking? We're on the second floor. I'm like, yeah, so? Like, pull up in front of the 7-Eleven. They jump out and leave the car running. You know what I mean? Like,
I do that shit too.
But see, where you're at, it's probably fine. You do that here, you're gone. It's gone. Yeah. You know what I mean? You leave it unlocked. That's bullshit. You pull up and lock your car, chances are shit won't be in there when you get back.
I know my wife just went to Target with the full bagger parts in the fucking trunk.
You're all right because she's in Lodi.
Okay, there we go.
She's all right.
As long as it's not in Stockton, there you go.
Another 5 years in Lodi, maybe not. But no, I think she'll be all right there. There's enough tweaks. Yeah. And it's
daylight right now too.
And it's daylight, exactly. On Wednesday night at bike night down there, that's Wilson Way, dude. It's gonna be some fucking action. The cops don't go down there, so basically, they can do the last bike night. The guys across the street busted out all their sports cars and were fucking just rolling in the middle of the street, like smoke shows all day, Wow. And then a couple of guys like down there. I don't know if you know Dinah Steve on Instagram.
I'm not sure.
He's a good dude. He's out there for 10 minutes, fucking showing them up and stuff. And so cops don't want any part of it because the hookers are walking by. They're selling drugs over in the corner, So I was just used to that. So going to all these places, it was so eye opening on how other people lived. Yeah. So
it's kind of like when I was telling you earlier, when the first time I came to Stockton, it was so eye opening that this kind of shit exists.
Yeah, no, and like I said, that little spot on Wilson Way is one of the greatest places in the country. Yeah, it's one of the worst places in the country, but I mean, one of my good friends lives in like right outside of Detroit. He's been to Flint when it was the shit, and I rolled him through a couple of those streets, and he's amazed. You know, and so, I mean, that also helps you because you see that every day, and you're like, dude, I could be that dude. You know what I mean? I could be that guy over there. That's like. It's
like one decision and one thought can change that whole like direction or whatever you want to call it. Yeah. So I mean, like back in that 2005 and 6 when all these dudes, mind you, Joe Martin was right there, so he was a fucking rock star. He was dating Playboy models. He was, like we have an area in Dallas called Greenville Avenue. It's kind of like, especially back in the early 2000s, it was like our uptown where you went to party and bar. And this dude opens up a fucking boutique right on the street, flames the building up, just like fucking balling out of control. Has speedboats out the ass and just crazy shit, right? Yeah. That chopper money was insane.
Yeah.
And and the bottom fell out, and then his exhaust company kind of went away, and. He still built bikes here and there. He started dabbling in this and that. Yeah. And now he's a super cool. I mean, he's still got a lot of shit going. Yeah. But
he's super talented fabricator.
Yeah, really.
He's got a good eye for things.
Yeah. His style is dope, man. Yeah. But it was just so crazy. That's the motorcycle scene that I was brought up in.
That's it. You see Matt Hotch, another example.
Wow.
He deserves everything he got. But you see him fucking mashing down the semi with Matt Hotch across the street. Yeah. And then. You're going to these shows and like we're in our truck in our trailer, fucking 2000 Chevy truck with a fucking white 12-foot trailer. Yeah. And we go to these shows and these motherfuckers, I mean, it was insane. And then the motorhomes behind the truck with all the dudes partying, and you're just like, what the fuck? And
it's like one bike build buys a semi.
Yeah.
Another bike build buys this. And it's like they get so many people going that it's like they got 5 employees building bikes back there.
Yeah.
For 130, 120, 110,
and
this
they think that it's just going to keep going.
Yeah.
And so they're like, oh, what? A fucking 10-year fucking lease on a semi? That ain't shit. $1,000 a month, whatever it is, And, it's shitty that...
Wrap it, 20 grand or 10 grand.
Exactly.
It's just wild, man. I do hope the motorcycle scene comes back to that because maybe not, I don't know. I hope that it does
maybe
its own
not
thing.
Not that far back.
Yeah. I don't know, man. Like I want to see people that like you and all the people that are really, really talented. I really want to see all you guys and hopefully me at some point. And I want to see these people prosper and have not that you're chasing that, not that
No,
you want that,
yeah.
but just finally, feel like you really did something and feel like you created a legacy like Billy Lane did and Indian Larry and shit like that.
Yeah,
because it's no, looking at your work and looking at a lot of the work of people I know, there's no difference. It's just that they had a TV show that portrayed them in the most best light possible.
Yeah, exactly.
And I mean, they did.
Well, that gets back to that thing that what you're saying is that one life change.
Yeah.
It's that being in that one place or that one. And I've been in that right place a lot of times and got a lot of cool shit. It's just, I think between my attitude and that I'm not, these bikes don't appeal to the mass public.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And there's a lot of little things. I mean, you get back to that thing you were talking about when they were trying to get you to do the show, that deal. They're trying to get you to be somebody you weren't.
Yeah.
And I'm just, life's too short. I don't want to be that guy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of people that are, and I'm not pointing fingers and saying that they're wrong or not. I just don't want to be that guy.
I feel like all of us in the scene are very entertaining, and if they would just let us be us on these TV shows,
Thank you. Yeah.
then I think that I think that you'll get some natural, honest humor and drama. Like, it's there. You don't have to force it out.
It is.
But it's not the same kind of drama as what you're used to seeing on OCC.
Yeah.
It's not throwing shit across the room and tearing shit up. It's just super awkward silences. Everybody's like, what the fuck is this?
Because they don't know what to say next.
Yeah.
But you're best friends and you're like, you talk to each other every fucking day.
Yeah, but having a TV show just showing the awkwardness of someone super quiet, so like, because he doesn't know what the fuck to say or do, is that not like more intense to watch than just seeing someone tear shit up?
Yeah, the tearing shit up just gets super old because you're like, man, everybody's mad. Fucking things suck, you know. But are you going to continually throw shit?
What's up?
So I don't know. It's hard to. It's weird what the public wants, man. I mean, I don't know what they want. Obviously.
Well, I mean, like the motorcycle public, we watched it to get certain aspects from it, but the majority of people watched it. They weren't into bikes.
Exactly.
They just, it was just the next thing
they
on TV.
loved the throwing the
yeah,
cool
they liked the
company
drama. Yeah. I mean, who's to say, like, I guess Biker Build Off didn't have, like, the first ones didn't have as much of a I'm sure it did well, but I don't know if it did as well as, like, say, for instance, the Orange County Choppers, because that Orange County thing went on for a long fucking time.
Yeah, the first Billy Lane ones, dude, they got mass appeal for everybody, but they were nothing like the OCC stuff because he was building shit, And the worst, I think, they maybe got in one argument because a guy was late for a part or something. You know what I mean? It's like, it wasn't like, it was a constant screaming match. And you know what, OCC, like, at first I hated what they were doing to the industry. And I still do what they did to the industry. Mm-hmm. But then you look back and you're like, man, there was a lot of very, very talented guys on that show. Mm-hmm. And there still are. You know what I mean? The new one, it's like, dude, Evan is freaking amazing. Like, that's one of their main builders. Like, if you look, and I hate to say that, but I watched a lot of them because if you look past all the bullshit, there was some still. Rick Beckler, dude, fucking A. One of my favorite fabricators of all time, and he's on that stupid ass show, and so there is good in all those things, but for whenever you go to a bike show and they're like, oh, you build bikes, or you're at a party with your wife or something, like, oh, you build bikes, like OCC, huh? And you just want to be like, not at all.
No, dude.
But yes, we do that, and yes, there's a couple guys there that are really talented, but no, we don't do anything like that.
When they did that, they kind of did the Biker Build Off. They had the Gas Monkey guys, and then they had and then what did fucking Paul Tuttle or whatever brought a goddamn snowmobile to a bike show?
Exactly. That showed exactly what he was about. Like, he had no clue. He just wanted to, like, make more money and cause some kind of. And again, I don't know him. I've never met him, and I have nothing. Yeah,
nothing against
nothing
the guy,
bad to say, but it's not me.
It's just
So
then you got guys. That's why I've always respected Jesse James. Just keeping his shit the way he kept his shit, and never tried to go and become this gimmick. Yep. Which that's what they were building. They were building bikes that let's put a spider web across the tank, and let's put this. Let's make the wheel a fucking pizza cutter rollers, whatever the fuck they were doing a bike for, and that's when it became a fucking joke.
Yeah, exactly. And then it was like, how do you top the next one? You know, and so.
Then, think about it, like an average. No, I can drive. So you get the average guy's not going to be able to. The average guy that sits on the couch looking at the next TV show is not going to be able to look at your bikes or a Billy Lane bike 100 times
Yeah.
and see the quality and see the details and see the difference.
Yeah. And if you see the OCC bikes on TV, they look great.
One's a fucking, what was a reindeer one or
Well,
some shit?
let me rephrase that. Yeah, the welds and things, you couldn't tell the difference, on
Yeah.
TV. But yes, the rain. I mean, there was just and I know it's money. I mean, and that's where I'm never gonna succeed, because some dude comes to me and says, "Let's build a reindeer bike." I'm gonna go tell him to shove it up his ass. You know what I mean? And that's. I mean, my dad would kick me if I said that, because he's like, he's a great businessman, and so I don't know. It's just that's where I run the line on this industry.
Yeah. But yeah, that's I want to open a window for me.
Yeah.
Kind of hotboxing me in here.
I don't know what you're talking about. It's legal now.
I haven't smoked in a while. Like ripped.
But yeah, no, I got to piss probably when I get home. So
Yeah.
It's not like that though. I mean, you won't get. I don't think he'll be tested, right? Like it doesn't show up if he smells it.
I don't know. It sucked to go have a dirty UA just because everybody else was having a good time.
That is true.
No, but so after like 05 and 06, like what was it like coming up to the 08 when it all busted and shit? What was it?
So that was, again, my perfect timing, as always. Went to in 07 and went to the World Championships in Sturgis, and they had it at I want to say Las Vegas. The first two were in Las Vegas or something like that, and guys like Chikara, Goldhammer, Hot Dog, like these guys were amazing. They're spending a whole year building one motorcycle. Every piece is completely thought out. Every piece is, I don't want to say they all are functionable, but they're all like to the extreme of fabrication. You know what I mean? So just anything you could possibly think of, and then to the max. And so you'd see these bikes and you just got so amazed, like, holy fuck, he spent as much time in that rear cover right there as I did in half of my bike.
Yeah.
And so it opened my eyes completely to what was out there. Like I've been doing business, customer stuff, handlebars for guys, like doing these things, but like never just, and build normal bikes. Yeah, I'd change this here and there and make it the way I wanted. But then seeing that just opened my eyes to everything. So the whole way back, I build this bike in my head, take a year to the fucking day almost to build this bike. Get done the day before we have to go to Sturgis, 08, fucking 08 World Championship. This is great. Which it still was. It hadn't dropped, the market wasn't great yet, and I wasn't smart enough to know about that shit, because I'm a bike, just in my bike, know. I don't read the newspaper. I don't fucking I don't care.
Watch CNN and shit.
Yeah. So roll out to the fucking Sturgis and put this bike out, and yes, I'm going to be like biased because I was in it, but had nothing to do with me. But I feel like it was the best competition of any of those years. You know, the steam had picked up. There was usually these guys would go in every other year thing. And then this year it combined, like all the good guys ended up being there.
Yeah.
So I was just, again, fucking, this is great. This is great. No one knew TPJ from fucking a hole in the ground, you know? And they shouldn't. I mean, I was just doing what everybody else was doing. And so as soon as this one went, we got 10th place. They called 10th place, I think it was like 93 people from around the world. And 10th place, back, I'm from the 80s and shit. You don't get first or second. You're not fucking happy. Exactly.
Yeah.
And so I'm pissed. I go up on stage. I'm very nice. These guys were awesome. Thank you very much for the 10th place. Woohoo. Goodbye. The rest of the fucking week, all I heard was, great job. That was so awesome. 10th place. Like, because they bring the top 10 on stage, Mm-hmm. And like, didn't even think, again, I'm just from Lodi. Like, I don't know anything. I'm just going to go back and work next week. And so it just rocket, like the next 3 or 4 months, like magazines were calling, we want you at this show, we want this and this, and then the fucking then just everything dumped, and so
you were right there on kind of like your,
like, I felt like this was like, oh, this is the chance where I'm going to be, not that I ever was going to make that Billy Lane money. But, you know, it was like, oh, shit, like...
You're about to be on the map.
This is awesome, you know? And magazines are like, hey, be in our magazine. Hey, do this. Come to our show. We'll give you a free booth, you know? Give me a free booth. I thought that was the coolest fucking thing. I've been paying $500 a weekend to go to these places, you know?
I'm spoiled because I try to get all of mine for free.
and you know, like I said, and that's another problem I have. I feel like those should be free. Yeah. And I say that as a business standpoint because look how much people you need that talent. Yeah. Not saying that I'm the talent, but builders, you need free builders in there that can't just spend all this money because they're the talent that makes your show good. Yeah. And it went to a point where that was forgotten. You know what I mean? And so then all of a sudden it was just people that were paying for spaces were there.
I've always said that it's different if you do a vendor spot and maybe your t-shirt company, which nowadays with Instagram, some of these t-shirt companies are way more famous than the goddamn guys building bikes. You know, no offense to them, but come on, dude. Like, exactly. You know, that kind of sucks. But, you know, you get stuff like that, or say you're there selling hot dogs. Yeah, you're making money there. But nobody's going to fucking Born Free for the hot dog stand. They're going to see the bikes there, and usually the vendors that are coming from all over the country or world to be there. And I feel like, those guys shouldn't have to be paying $500 for a weekend.
And I understand where they're, I mean, again, I'm fucking right down the line again. I understand where the business guys come from because he can't make it work unless he gets enough money guaranteed in the door, you know? So,
you know, I feel like most of those big shows like that, they make so much money on the $10 coming in.
I agree. That's what I'm trying to say. Like, I understand where they're saying, well, we need to make sure that we have the expenses covered before the people come in. Because what if they don't come in? Well, the place was fucking packed. And you charged me $500. You know, the worst, like I said, Easy Rider was the worst one. Like, and I do not mean to talk shit on them. They were, all these little small companies were trying to, like, were busting their ass to get their shit done, to be at the Easy Rider show and to promote their product. And then they didn't give a shit. They made us pay $25 for wristbands, $500 for a 10x10 booth, and those fucking motherfuckers stuck me behind a pole more than once. Mm-hmm. And every time you told them, hey, I paid $500 to be here, well, this guy over here paid more, so he's here. You know, and it's like, that just got real old. You know,
I remember the first time I went to a rock rally. I was actually talking about it yesterday on John's podcast, and that's the first time I saw Paul Yaffe's bagger. He first big wheel he did, and but Joe Martin was there, and I was kind of like hanging out, eavesdropping and shit, and he was talking about. Somebody asked him, and he was kind of just going off. He's like, "Yeah, I don't pay to be at shit like this." He has a semi in there. He goes, he said, they pay me to be here.
Yeah, that's,
And I was like, I mean, he was on TV and all that shit, so it makes sense, because think about it. Back then, when all these dudes were on TV and shit, like, Joe Martin's going to be there. Rick Ferris is going to be there.
Yeah, that brings their fun.
Yeah, Billy Lane. Oh, I want to shake his hand. It's like going to Autorama, and they got that one person that was on LA Inc. that you're getting, shit like that from. So it becomes an attraction.
And that's what brings them to the show. And so when you start cutting that, and you start cutting that out, and now it's all, and the chaps seller, the sunglasses seller, and the this and this and this, and you're like,
same shit everywhere.
Fucking selling law shit.
I will say, like, Born Free does a good, like, their vendors are all there. It's all people that are relative that you want to see. It's not a whole bunch of generic leather sellers and fucking bandana guys and shit like that.
All the companies there are actually people that I enjoy seeing and friends from around the country that I don't always get to see.
But I mean, think about it. Like, maybe there probably really shouldn't be. Like, you're good. Okay. You can shut it if you want. But it's like I get it. They probably need to charge people to get in, but maybe not so much, man.
Yeah.
Like, maybe not so much to bring a booth in. And maybe also figure out what kind of company is coming to show. If it's a bike company and they're coming from Texas or fucking Maryland or some shit, like, come on, dude, like. That's a long haul.
Well, that's the thing. There's a bunch of East Coast shows that have called me over the years and like, man, we'd love to give you a free booth out here. And I'm like, I appreciate that more than anything. But do you know how it takes me a week, to drive out there and back? Plus now we're going to be there for 4 days. So I'm shutting the shop down. I'm paying expenses. I'm paying hotels, and then you bring that up to them and they're like, okay, well, good to see you, and it's like, I appreciate it. I'm not trying to get you to pay for it, but like
you just gotta understand.
I can't make it. You know what I mean? So, it's hard. I mean,
it's just different now, and I think that we're all like with all the social media now, and how like the people who are the famous people now. Like I said, it's more or less the people that make shirts.
Yeah.
Than builders nowadays, and I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that maybe a lot of us builders need to step it up and be more inspirational. Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't
mean,
know.
I don't know that you're wrong. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I'm
I
not
don't
saying
know.
that we're
Yeah.
not. I'm not saying that it's our fault. I'm just saying that like
Well, I think I agree with you. That's what I'm saying. I agree with what you're saying, but I think it's
maybe it's a different word to
it
use.
just got so muddled up with just average.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that is not bad mouthing any builders. Like, I don't
Yeah.
mean that rudely. Like, yeah, fuck it, I do mean it rudely. You know what I mean? There was these badass builders, and now like you know, and take nothing away from someone's dream. That's what I'm trying to say. Like, bolting something on to a bike is fucking awesome if that's what you have as your dream.
Mm-hmm.
But when that is what a builder is now, and then you compare that to Roger Goldhammer,
Mm-hmm.
it's just not fair. You know what I mean? And like I said, Westbury, that dude fucking is insane. You know what I mean? He can build things that normal people couldn't.
Well, it goes back to saying, like we were talking about the gimmick. Like, you know, if I got to be famous because I got to go jump an FXR over some trash cans,
I just don't want to do it. Yeah.
You know, that's sad that becomes the most important part of what people see in motorcycle culture is who's doing the crazy shit.
I agree.
You know?
Exactly.
But yeah, like it. You know that you remember that video, that dude that did the what was it? He did that FXR jump, and he jumped over those fucking trash cans, and then he fucking just over jumped it.
Shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember the first day that thing came out. The dude had like 1,000 something followers.
And he
Was over 20,000 followers. I could be wrong. I
Yeah,
could
no,
be
you're
talking
right.
my ass.
You're 100% right.
But I'm like, wow. Like, I've been busting my ass for 4 years to get 20,000 followers. Like,
Yep.
like putting my relationship on the line and shit. Just kind of like being on Instagram all night trying to hustle up all this shit.
Yep.
And this dude just did some retarded shit and he got it.
Retarded shit. Like, don't get me wrong, he's got balls the size of
Yeah.
fucking. But
is that what's gonna drive the industry now? Is just who's doing the next retarded thing?
Unfortunately, yes. Look at ridiculous. I mean, I love ridiculousness. I love watching Rob Dyrdek. But fucking, that's what everyone wants. They want to see the weirdest fucking fucked up shit. You
Yeah.
know, and that's what I don't. And that's gets back to that. It's what I just don't like.
So
about
maybe
the
it's not
industry.
even the builders or the people that work on bikes' fault. It's just maybe we can't.
Exactly.
There's nothing we can do to top the ridiculously of what people are doing nowadays.
Exactly. Look at now. You know Cole Foster, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Fucking roll a Cole Foster bike across the TV screen. You know, just say nothing but roll it across, and then you roll some douchebag jumping the thing and wrecking it all over the place. You know what I mean? Fucking 2,000 hours worth of work, all this time and energy, all this, and this, and then this guy just builds a hokey ramp on a piece of wood with a ice chest. You
Yeah.
know, and again, that's what good for him.
It's like, I don't want to hate on the dude. I'm
And
kind
that's-
of proud of him.
Exactly.
But I'm just kind of more sad that
It's the Kardashian effect. I'm
Dude,
not fucking mad at the
just kidding,
Kardashians. I hate the fucking Kardashians. But you can't blame them because a shit ton of people want to give them money for doing something that they were doing anyway.
Yeah.
If this dude wants to go jump these things anyway and a fucking shit ton of people, I can't be mad at him. I got to be mad at all the people that are like, yeah, I want to see that. Yeah, but I mean,
I'm gonna follow this guy and see
I
if he
watched
does
it
some
20
more
fucking
stupid
times.
shit. Yeah.
You know, I mean, I watched him wreck. I wanted to see that fucking chest slap on the tank.
Yeah,
you know?
just one more time. And then that last one, which I like this one a lot, but that dude and his chick, they got butt ass naked and did the wheelie on it.
Yeah, he did you see the jump that he did the other day? That's right down the street, probably a couple miles
it's up
down the
here?
street.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I saw him bust that jump, and I'm like, dude, that looks like my house. Like, and I looked around, and it's like 2 fucking roads over.
Damn.
So, and he rides motocross, I think. And,
Yeah.
and then him and his lady got naked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool.
I was like, all right. I mean, he got to follow just because, like,
Yeah.
he's
We're so guilty
not
of the
because
same
of the
shit.
chick, because he landed that jump, right? No.
Yeah. We're
No,
so guilty of
yeah.
the same shit we're talking about right now.
Exactly.
I think I followed that dude that jumped the FXR too.
Yeah, no, I did for a little while, and then I was like, all right.
He's not doing anything else
Yeah,
cool.
exactly. That was the one thing. So, no, I'll text you. Yeah.
But that's just it's funny, it's sad, it's kind of like it makes it hard to kind of wrap your head in it. You know what? It brings us back to this. Wrap your head around how to do it. How do we get up there? But then, like we were just talking about in your garage a while ago, that now I just don't care. Like now I look at these bikes that you're doing and the other people that are inspiring me to want to build bikes, and I just want to do it for me.
Yep.
Like I want to show people what I'm doing. I want them to see it.
You still want them to like it.
Because people out there probably like it and gain inspiration or just whatever from it. But I'm more starting to care less about like being the guy that jumped the ramp. Like, I don't want to be the next big guy that did some crazy shit or brought the next coolest bike. I just want to do what's cool to me.
Yeah.
And it's probably going to be pleasing to the people that know me personally or follow us or whatever, because they know, especially if you listen to this, you hear me talk about it for a year and then you finally see me do it.
Yeah.
I think people might be kind of proud. I mean, I'm proud when I see, people doing shit that I know they were wanting to do, and I see them making it happen. So,
I'll tell you, like I said in the garage earlier, the one of the coolest feelings I've ever had in my life is building a frame, building tanks, building controls, and not just doing it, but having a plan. Like, this needs to have a 4.5 inch trail. This needs to have a 30-degree rake. How am I going to do this and accomplish this so I can do 120 on a rigid, which you shouldn't
probably
do in the first place, And so when you get on that thing and you do that and you spend all these fucking time and energy, and your wife is pissed, your kids think that you don't listen to them, and all these things, and you ride that thing down the street the first time and it like does what you want, it's fucking awesome, and so it's a thing that's hard to explain, but it's such a cool, you just want to continue doing that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's like chasing a high every time, kind of.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, I'm just glad glad my high is like this and not down the Stockton, the meth heads and shit. So
Wilson Way.
Yeah. And Wilson, I mean, again, I fucking hate Stockton. I've been there. I hate everything about it, but I love that stretch of Wilson Way. And that, I look at that as a motorcycle industry.
For that stretch of Wilson Way, I feel more like, was it Vin Diesel quarter mile or less?
Exactly, and I think it is maybe like half a mile of that Wilson Way.
Yeah.
But that's like the motorcycle industry. Like you hate it, but there's that thing that keeps you there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
it's like a brother that's just a piece of shit, but you still love him. I mean, I talk about mine all the time, but it's like, I can't stand what the fuck you're doing. Why aren't you paying? Why? Just why?
Yeah.
Fuck, I still love you, man.
Yeah.
It's really hard to,
Oh, I stepped back from this last, maybe not the last 6, but anyway, last year or so, I stepped away like firmly from social media, from shows, from everything, because of a few situations that happened that I wasn't happy with, you know, and it was like, is this the industry that I want to be in? Like, it isn't what I want to be in.
Me and Big Joe kind of talked about this, about how it kind of sucks when you see like opportunities that are out there, like real opportunities where certain people could kind of be in the limelight that should be exposed.
Yeah.
It could put a good light on a lot of things.
Yeah.
And it's the dude that's
famous.
It's the dude, or the dude that's just not like, it's not that guy. You picked the wrong, you know what I mean?
Well, the one that gets me is, I agree with that. That's a hard one, because how the fuck do you know what some douchebag's going to do, But the one that gets me is, there's these guys that work, and this is going to be a bitch fest, but I'm not even use names, and everyone knows who I'm talking about. There's guys that work to be here. There's guys that give up everything that they have in their fucking kids' games and their food for their, down the line. And then this opportunity opens up to be the builder of something. And a guy that has nothing to do with the industry, but is super famous as fuck, he gets it and takes that away from...
Okay, I know you're talking about, yeah.
You know what I mean? And and I got that, and again, that's a dude.
It sucks. He's a super nice guy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, I got fucking nothing against him, but it's like, fuck you. You just took some shit out of people's mouth that like have worked their asses off.
Yeah.
And that's just bad thing. And that's happened multiple times. So it's not just the one. It's down the line. But that's, again, the feeds the fucking, you got this businessman that knows that that's the better decision, because who the fuck am I? No one wants to pay to watch me. You know what I mean? Like, where they do him,
last year at the Hot Bike Tour, I mean, like I said, it sucks. It sucks, and I've met him a couple of times. He's super cool, but man, there's some nice bikes that were built at the Hot Bike Tour last year, and they got completely overlooked because the people were judging were the same people that watch American Chopper.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, who built this bike?
Yeah.
This one wins because I know them.
Exactly, I've seen them before, or I know
heard of them.
I know who
they were on
married
MTV
to,
or some shit.
Exactly.
But yeah, it does suck, man. It really does. And like I said, they're super cool, and I think that what he does is awesome, and he brings a lot of shit to the industry.
And that's why I say I toe the line on all that.
It's a hard argument, but what you just said is I agree.
Yeah.
Like maybe his position in it should be more of what he is doing, but not.
But I think he is, and that's what I think. I don't think he's even...
I don't think he's actively
He doesn't even
doing
have a bad attitude about it.
Yeah, I don't think he's
actively
doing it. But, like it does suck when you're competing and get someone that's going to, kind of overshine everything you're doing.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't make it not fair, but it just makes it tougher,
It's not fair.
Yeah, and that, I've always been the stepchild or the fucking, you know, I mean, I don't care. I don't want to be that guy in the limelight. Like, I have no inspiration of doing that. When I just want to just be there and enjoy what I'm doing. You know what I mean? And so, like I said, that bothers me because it's, on one hand, it's fucking somebody up, but then it gets to that stupid garage builder versus pro builder shit too.
Yeah.
Like, we all fucking started in our garage. You know what I mean? Like, I don't like the guys that have full-time fucking jobs and can afford spending 30 G's on building this bike, and they can do it in their little spare time and then go to the show and win. I don't like it, but that's fucking life.
Yeah.
We all were that dude. And so it's the same thing. Like, I'll bitch about that all day, but it has no bearing because they're both right. You know what I mean?
And that's one thing I'm realizing about a lot of my stance on everything I talk about in this podcast is that I agree with myself and I disagree with myself.
Yeah.
It just depends on which way we're looking at the situation.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I like arguing. I mean, that's my biggest thing. Like,
we're both complainers.
Yeah, no, exactly. I'm going to whine and complain, and no one's going to listen, and that's just the way it is.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? I'm here all fucking day by myself. The phone rings a few times a day, you know what I mean? And then my wife and kids get home, and they got to listen to me whine and complain all day. You know, and it's like, and they're telling me to shut the fuck up because I'm talking, because I haven't said a word all day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And all these things are building up in my head, and, you know, but again, it can be a million times worse, and, like, I don't want to be anybody else. Like, everything that I've gone through, whether it was a kick to the nuts or a fucking can blowing up next to me, almost, you know what I mean? Like, it's all taught me something.
Yeah,
you know what I
exactly.
mean? Like, I have family members I don't talk to. I have best friends that I don't talk to. And, like, it all taught me something. You know what I mean? And do I look back and regret it? No. That's just that's how you learn, you know? So.
Yeah, but yeah, so basically after that shit, you know, you did that one bike and you thought everything was gonna go
This
there.
is what I was talking about earlier.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
love how we get back distracted for a half hour.
No, I
go
was like
back
just
to-
breathing. I was hearing myself wheeze. I was hearing myself wheeze in the mic. I'm like, damn, did I get some of that in my lungs?
Oh my god.
Oh shit, that's awesome.
But so if you hear me wheezing on this, it's I think I got a little reefer smoking. But no, you know, so yeah, after we were talking about this, but yeah, after that deal, you know, like how bad did it hit, and like what was it for you? You
I
know?
mean, it hit horrible. Like the huge companies that we respected and did business with that you never thought were going places were gone. You know what I mean? And like the semis disappeared. And then the dudes went back to the trucks and the trailers with their name on the side.
I wonder what it was like going to a place like Sturgis or some of those things right after.
It was crazy.
Like ghost town type
And I'm
shit.
telling, like, I went from 07 to 16, 15 every year. You know what I mean? So I was there a couple, you know, one or two before, and then through all the shit where when you were in town, you knew all the builders in town.
Yeah.
Like there was 50 dudes in town, and you knew every one of them, and you were going to see them like. Some of them you don't see all the time because that's the one where you see the East Side guys. But everybody from the West Coast, you knew them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or you had hung out with them or talked to somebody.
So what was it like seeing the transition of like what was popular before and how it transitioned to what became popular over those years?
I mean, what was popular, what I feel, went back to the craftsmanship of it. You know what I mean? Like the craftsmanship, there was just the builders that, it wasn't the craziness, you know, it wasn't that the flame and the this and the that. It was just like normal choppers that were clean and
It did do that.
you know.
I actually, I do remember that. It kind of went back to just kind of like not flamboyant stuff anymore and just kind of more
Exactly.
bare bones then the baggers came along.
And then the baggers came along,
Yeah.
and then that's just when it exploded again. You know, so but it was rough. Those the first 2 years were tough because I don't watch the news. I don't know what the fuck's going on. Like, I don't know how it's affecting everybody. I just know that Stockton is the worst city in America 3 years in a row because of the housing market and the loss of jobs and the drug, you know, down the line. And I know people are losing their houses like crazy, you know.
Yeah.
My wife and I were lucky. We still made all our, you know, when everybody was refinancing and buying boats and buying houses and cars, I just didn't feel like it was going to go that way forever. You know,
Yeah.
and again, I'm not fucking smart. I barely graduated high school, but how can this house that's only worth 150 grand get to 500 grand? It can't get to 750. So where's it going to stop, you know? And so it was tough going around because you had all your expenses. All the shows weren't paying anything because they could barely like
Yeah, they
be
were
around.
barely getting around.
And then all the little shows were dropping off. So now all of a sudden you only have certain times to show your stuff.
Yeah, Easy Rider stopped coming to Dallas.
So yeah, I mean they dropped a bunch of them,
Yeah.
you know, and they started going 1 days places, you know, and you know, but their show was huge in impact on us when we were the only thing, like the only
That's all
bitch
you
I
had.
have about them is that they took fucking forever to get your magazine, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
The guys would be out of business before their magazine would even roll through, you know, and that was tough because there's a lot of like good talented guys, you know.
Well, and you know, now with social media, kind of is like really shitting on magazines, but there's you know, we've been talking about it. If you've listened, you've heard it, but you know, there's lots of ways that the magazines can still be really relevant in our industry. It's just they got to find their place, and they got to come out with some quality shit, and it's got to be, you know, it can't just be some thrown together fucking camera phone pictures, thrown in a half-ass written article and a fucking magazine full of goddamn ads that don't have anything to do with what we're interested in.
Exactly.
You know,
yeah. I don't need insurance. I have to have insurance to fucking be on.
Yeah.
I'm tired of seeing the insurance and the attorneys. Like, it just doesn't have any value on. I don't need that 20 pages. You know.
And you know, it's like why did you look at a magazine? You wanted to see the bikes.
Yeah.
And I'm cool with ads.
Yeah.
As long as it's a company that's like got cool shit in their ad that I want to see. Oh
Yeah.
shit! Like see a lead sled fucking ad, and he's got a hardtail and a chain
Fuck
drive.
Pat. No.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
You see all this shit, and you're like, "Fuck, man, I want to do that." So you want to go look up lead sled.
Exactly.
But then when you have a lead sled or fucking somebody like that ad tucked in the middle of like Harbor Freight and you know those leather companies we see at the goddamn shows that nobody really buys from.
Yeah.
And
Not
shit.
the good leather guys.
Yeah.
The crap ones.
Yeah, all the fucking, you know, Afghan stuff.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you know, when you like Show Class and the way Dice is and those other more grassroots magazines are super cool. It's just that those magazines are kind of more, you know, only vintage choppers.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And they're super like, you don't have this type of motor, you are not in this bike.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And the horse was like that in the beginning.
The horse has gotten a lot better. I've been looking at their magazine, and a buddy of mine told me that they're about to start putting dynas and shit in there now.
Oh yeah? No, that's I when you said the magazines, I got a stack of like from probably issue 2 to 64. That was the magazine I read all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And that second bike because I always did my problem was I always did Evo motors.
Mm-hmm.
They weren't the cool thing at that time. That was like buying a freaking, you know, that's like buying a 2002 Ford Focus or something right now. You know what I mean? Nobody wanted an Evo. Yeah, a Focus. Nice.
Yeah, 2002
Even well,
hatchback. I used to drag race it.
so that makes it a half a point cooler. So.
Yeah.
But you know, nobody wanted the Evo. So fucking, you don't put an Evo in a chop. You put a fucking pan head or a shovel head. You know, and I wanted to ride these things, and so I wanted a freaking Evo. You know what I mean? And that's in the very beginning. I got shit on a lot in shows because, yeah, bike's cool, but it's an Evo.
Oh, that sucks.
Okay, all right. So the craftsmanship's cool, but it's an Evo. You know, and so, but I didn't. It was that thing. I didn't care. I was sticking to my guns. I did it for a reason. You know, and so then, I don't remember where we're going with that one.
That's all right.
Yeah. But anyway,
But
so
you were doing your
yeah.
own thing, and
Yeah.
you were just kind of sticking to your guns, and yeah, like those magazines are kind of like really.
That's what I said. Yeah. So fucking, I take my first bike to the horse, and I'm
Yeah.
like, not the first one, but that first one we did for the shop.
Yeah.
Fucking loved it, dude. It was like, I mean, it was badass. This thing was clean, like, you know, just a chopper. Right? I was
Yeah.
super proud of it.
Like how you kind of knuckled out the tank there for your knees and shit, so you
Yeah.
can kind of keep it
Everything
narrow.
was part of still being a fast bike, racing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I still came from that motocross. Like, I still want to ride. Like,
Yeah.
shit shouldn't be there that isn't needed, you
Yeah.
know? Fucking love that bike. I was so proud of myself. It was nothing special when you look back, but I went to the horse. I went to the, you know, oh, I'm not going to put it in. It's an Evo, you know? And so you're like, oh, okay, cool, you know? And so they had all these different magazines had all these different things. I never really fit in them, you know, until Hot Bike, like you know, they had a vision. They saw what we were doing and they like understood what we were doing. And that was what was cool, you know, and there's a lot of guys there that like had helped me out for a lot of years because I'm always, I don't mean it like this, but I mean, we're always ahead of the trend. Not like we're setting the trend. We're just ahead. Like, you know,
Yeah.
we just do what we want to do. And then all of a sudden, maybe 5, 6, 7 years later, somebody else is awesome at it and does it, you know, too. And so a lot of these guys at Hot Bike saw that, and they were like, okay, you may not be relevant to a lot of people, but
we see what you're doing.
We see what you're doing and we respect it. And so to me, that was always awesome. I felt
that's what they're supposed to do. They're supposed to put the shit out there for the world to see.
Exactly.
And not every bike in those magazines are not going to be something that I'm jazzed about.
Exactly.
But you know what? Let's say that there's 5 bikes in a magazine and I dig one of them. One dude might dig 6 or some more, but 3 of them, and go on from there.
Exactly.
And that's what it's for, is to show people the difference of things, and to try to, like what they got to do now is they got to paint a good picture of it. They got to take good photos. They got to like sell me on a good story. They got to like make me look at that bike and either want to buy it, want to build it, or see myself on it in some kind of form or fashion, to where that will drive the industry more.
No, you got it. That picture you showed me today, that's the feeling you have to have. When you see the magazine, like, oh fuck, I want to know more about that bike. Or I want to see more pictures. And then it got to the point where it was only 2 pages of, you get 2 pages now. Like,
and all you got
pictures
20 pictures of one bike. You don't get the art of it.
Exactly.
Because the photography is an art and it's showing the art, and if you do a shitty job at the photography, it makes the art not worth what it could have been.
Exactly.
And that's one thing they need to all go back to. I mean, I think Street Chopper kind of does that.
Yeah.
But they need to do that with Hot Bike.
It's just
and
shitty.
I think they're about to do that now, actually.
It's just shitty and I mean, social media is awesome because you can see shit right away.
Yeah.
And you don't have to wait for 6 months for your magazine to come out.
Well, what they need to do now is just say, like, all right, I know we've been promising people all these things, so they're 2 years out.
Yeah.
Just start fresh. It's just like, you know what? Everybody that's promised, sorry.
Yeah. I mean, and that
right now, stay ahead of the curve. So that basically, when you take a bike, it's coming out within the first month or 2.
Because that's what I say. That's what's fucking killed all the magazines, is that instant gratification. Like, here you go. Oh, this was this show today. It's happening right now. So why the fuck do you want to see it in 3 months?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So, like I said, the magazines has to find a way to show us what we've already seen in a better light.
Yep.
It's challenging.
Because I still want to look at a magazine. Yeah, I still want to. I mean, you see, I still want to pull magazines. I want to look at what I'm doing. I
love looking at magazines, but it's hard. It's different, but there's still a place for them, and they just got to figure it out.
Yeah, and then it's a bit, and then there you go to that other side of the line. But it's still a business, and they need to make money, and they got somebody else telling them what to do.
Yeah,
that probably doesn't have a fucking 2 shit clue what the Chopper is, because they run 7 different magazines that are all off the board.
I remember like back in the day they would talk about like, putting a certain bike on the cover or putting somebody doing a wheelie. Like the sales would be different between the wheelie and the custom bike.
Yep.
It's just like we were talking about the guy jumping a ramp and the guy building the bike online. It's the same way for the magazine. Like they would rather put the wheelie on the magazine because more people will buy it.
Oh, exactly.
And it sucks, but
But that's the way the world works. So what are we gonna do? Cry about it, or just keep on?
We'll keep crying about it. That's what we'll do. Yeah, we'll cry about it.
I mean, I definitely got a lot of crying. There's a lot of shit I can complain about. So
after the after the bubble, how was the rebuild for you guys as far as like to sustain and stay relevant? And I mean, did you have to?
So it was good and bad, because like it was good because we were one of the only games around that they'd see all the time. You know what I mean? You go to a hot bike event, fucking there would be TPJ. You go to another fucking TPJ. Oh fuck,
like y'all made it.
Exactly, like we were something, which I didn't think we were, because there's times we could barely fucking pay the bills. But this was just an awesome marketing help for us. You know what I mean? And if I had to give my time and energy, and I finally had, these guys were giving I'm giving my time and energy, and they see that and they want to give theirs. And so it worked out great in that time for the people that stuck around. And so this whole time I'm thinking, you fucking hear back when the crisis happened and people were making millions of dollars, because they bought into steel and all this shit. They stuck it through. That's all I'm thinking. I'm like, man, we're going to stick it through. When this stuff comes back, we're going to be not, and I don't mean top like talent or any bullshit like that, but we're going to be one of the top guys to think about, And then all the fucking big wheeled bagger things took over, and I had no interest in it whatsoever. And so basically that became the market, you know what I mean? And we didn't disappear, but what I intended in my head, what I had visioned the whole time, just all your dreams, took a shit right down the toilet. So what do? You just figure something else out, you know, and so we just
But you stuck to your guns and you didn't like turn what you were doing into baggers. I mean, like I said before, that there's a way that maybe if we were looking at, like I talked about earlier, like, you know, maybe what would TPJ's bagger have been?
Exactly.
And I think you did one where you just got rid of the bags and shit, right?
Well, exactly for the hot bike tour. Yeah, exactly. It was like, here's my Electroglide. Here's what I think an Electroglide should be like. You know what I mean? And and it was totally stripped down. It did 140 miles an hour. It was great, you know? So, and I did a bagger. I took an 04 Electroglide and changed it to everything I thought a bike should be. Mm-hmm. And that's the one I rode to that 6,000 mile trip to Sturgis and back, you know? But it was nothing like, nobody gave it a second look. You know what I mean? It was one of those that people were like, what the fuck is that thing? You know, that dirty piece of shit someone rolls in on. And so getting back to what you said is that's where I feel the most proud about TPJ. And every person that did this to make their company stay afloat, I 100% understand, because I've been to that situation where you've had to decide whether you close down or keep rolling. Mm-hmm. So I understand their decision, but I feel like I'm so proud of TPJ for not changing or following those trends. Yeah. You know, the big wheel baggers are coming. Let's do this. Oh, now the Dynas are coming. Oh shit, now the FXRs are coming. You know, I would love to do those, but they all have cool fucking things about them. Mm-hmm. I have nothing against any of them. But when I drive down the street in LA and I see people standing in line for a club, I don't understand what the fuck could be that cool in that club why everyone's standing in line. Mm-hmm. And that's how I feel with the FXRs, the Dynas, and the baggers, and the different things that have come and gone. There's probably so much cool shit going on in there, but just because everybody wants to be in there, I just don't have any interest, you know? And so, and then it gets back to, I am very, very one focused. Like, I like what I like.
Usually people that I meet with your kind of like focus on the fabrication, they don't quite have the same enthusiasm for the riding of the bike.
Oh, and that's, to me, I feel like it has to be, I mean, every one of these bikes, with the exception of the orange one, has shit tons of miles. Yeah. And the only reason it doesn't is because it was the one I did for that. I built every single piece on it from the front. I mean, the rockers on the front end to every piece on it. And I just don't want to fuck it up, because every bike I have is fucked up somehow. Yeah. Because I'm riding it. You know, I mean, there's scratches, there's the paint, you know, and you got to redo them here and there. And so, you know, I've laid multiples of our bikes down, and not because we were, you know, because we were being dumb, like just enjoying them as motorcycles as they should be. And coming from dirt bikes, that kind of fucked me up on the choppers, because you laid your bike down. Yeah, your bike wadded up, and you would take it apart, and then you would cut off the piece that was fucked up, and you'd smooth it down, and all of a sudden your bike would be a little different. Mm-hmm. And that probably gets back to that first question that you asked me. That was a huge part of getting into the choppers, is I'd wreck these bikes constantly. And so I didn't have a shit ton of money to buy new parts. So now all of a sudden I'm just reusing the ones and customizing them. And now all of a sudden I'm like, well, I can take these things apart, you know, and I can maybe do this, you know. Again, I don't know if people are going to like it, but I like it. Yeah, you can do it. Exactly.
Well, that to me, that's cool, man. That's what I'm learning. You know what I mean? Because like I said, I came into this shit with a way different mentality, like I came into it as motorcycles were accessories to my appearance. Yep. You know, and I've learned how important they are to other things.
You get hooked.
Yeah. And so like you know, like I said, I know I used to talk a lot of shit, and I still do. Like I said, I'm for it and I'm against it. I'm against trailers, but I'm for it.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But there's a lot of shops that would get to the point where they would they're just fabricators that love to build bikes, but they don't have the fucking they don't really care to ride them.
Yeah. Oh, and I.
You know, I'm not mad at them because they build badass shit, but I'm also like, man, like, you'd be way cooler if you rode that thing. You know what I mean?
100% agree with you. I mean, yeah, there's a lot, I don't know how to say that one. There's a lot of guys that have super talent, and I'm glad that they're showing it in this industry. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? But there's a lot of unrideable stuff. Yeah. And that's the only thing, and the only reason it angers me is because why waste your time on something that you can't ride?
Well, if they actually rode it, then they would probably, I think it would help the build, because if they actually actively wanted to, if they were looking at this bike and envisioning themselves pounding down 99, then yes, they would start making the bike a rideable bike, but still be like, they'd have that wild idea, but then this conformity to being able to ride it would come into play, and then you have something that is a mastery of art and fabrication, but also
very fucking cool. Like you look at Roger Goldhammer's the yellow bike in 2008 when we were there in the World Championships. He built this bike from the ground up, hand formed all the fucking aluminum sheet metal on it, and then took it to Bonneville and raced it.
Nice.
Do you know what I mean? Like that's just cool.
Yeah.
Like that showed that he wasn't just slapping because you go to these swap meets and a lot of these guys, I've been to millions of swap meets, and the guy buys the frame and he buys the front end and he buys the wheels, but he has no clue on any of those dimensions of anything and how it's going to all sit and where you're going to ride, your trail, your just anything on it, And so for someone to focus from the very beginning like that and know that he has 14 inches to the center of his front wheel and 13 and a half and how that's going to affect something and where he needs to make his swing arm and where,
So how did you get to the point where you learned all that stuff? Trial and error or because I mean like I'm seeing all these sketches and like you got fucking protractors out here and
So I was very, very, very not into school.
Yeah.
But I think it was also because I didn't go to the right school.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I went to a good school.
They weren't teaching you math using it to build cool shit.
Thank
they were putting it on numbers
and they were smacking you in the head when you didn't understand it.
Yeah.
And it was like, what the fuck? You know what I mean? Like, and so basically coming from the motocross thing, I think is what makes it, because those dudes are so technical. They're so badass. They know that 1 millimeter this way changes the rate, the angle of the neck and this, down the line. And so I think wanting to know how to make it perform because I had ridden. So you get back to when you're working on people's bikes, you're riding these piles of shit, and I don't mean like, I don't mean just that they built it and it's a pile of shit. Just they buy the big dog or the fucking, there was a bunch of them, back then that these guys would just slap together these cool looking choppers that rode like shit, know, and so you ride a few of these and you're like, I don't want to ride like this. You know what I mean? You saw my blue one in there. Like I ride the fuck out of that bike. That thing, both pegs are scraped up. It has, it's got a higher freaking bottom, the bottom rail is another 1.5 inches higher than what normal would be. The pegs are higher. Everything is there to perform. It's got no front brake. It's got jockey shift.
You're that no front brake performance.
Yeah, exactly. And so, all those things have to come into that because if you start getting 80, 90 miles an hour around corners and the thing doesn't handle, I've been on, I love Harley Davidson. I love what they bring, they're the only reason we're still around, but they sell some shit that does not perform at all. And that's why these people are spending so much money to make them perform. You go on a corner on a fully stocked bike at 90 and you start speed wobbling and you think you're dead. Like I just don't want that. You know what I mean? So then I started realizing that like, okay, the motor, when the motor and the transmission are connected at one point and then your frame and your neck are at another point and there's rubber in between, you start looking at all these things and you just dissect everything and you're like, okay, well, how can I make that better? How can I make, the swing arm pivots? I want these solid. I don't want these floating, you just start going down the line. And so it's lots of years of trial and error, but it's not really error because you're just, you don't really know what the fuck you're doing. You're like, you're just trying to learn, and so I love everything being perfect. Like precise is retarded I'm just super anal about that. Like each side has to be perfect. Each thing has to line up.
That's what scares me about like trying to make a tank.
Yeah, that's tough. The first couple ones I made did not, dude. So first couple ones you make your patterns and you get it all done and it's.
All I want to do right now is super simple.
Yep.
I just want to cut some of these fucking pockets out of my tank.
Yep.
And make them the same on both sides.
And that's even tough because all of a sudden, as soon as you cut away and you put a little weld here or this, or if you're doing any kind of concave bends to the piece, you're now each side. So that's the worst part. You make one, so you make the side of that tank, right? You fucking love it. Now you gotta go make the other side. Like, and it's got, like you said, it has to match up.
Yeah.
And then that one is an underneath tank. So now tunnel it's not a 2-piece tank like normal,
Yeah.
like they would do on something like that. So now the bottom piece has to match up to the tunnel curve.
And I get anxiety whenever I have to match one side of graphics to the other. And I have pieces of paper that I can like, take a pencil and just kind of hit the tape and then like pounce it and throw it over and get like, right there. And
Yeah.
so when you're looking at a piece of metal and you got to bend it and, the curve has to be the same.
Yeah.
It's super hard, say if you get a dent in the curve of the gas tank that's like really caves it in and you're trying to Bondo shape it.
Oh yeah.
That shit's hard.
Yeah. No, and like even the frame rails, you know what I mean? Both sides are identical, but you do have to do 6.5 turns down, but you can't turn 2. You know what I mean? You have to know like each roll has to be the same. So like you can't just get all crazy where you're like, oh man, I made this one. And then you're like, well, how the fuck did I make that one? Like, did I do 6 turns on the fucking, on the English wheel, or did I... The tubing roller, did I do half a turn there? It's shitty, and there's lots of stuff that gets thrown on the ground, but you can't give up because, and that's where I feel like I hopefully go from other people. That didn't even sound right, but hopefully I'm deciphered from different people because of that. Because like every side is perfect, you know what I mean? And if I have to throw 3 of them away and waste fucking whole day, then that's just what you have to do. Jesse James said it perfect. Like, you do not justify a part because of the time spent on it. If it doesn't look right or it doesn't fit what you were trying to do, you fucking throw it on the ground. You know what I mean? Perfect example of that. I have probably, I don't even know how many hours I have into this. It was a motor mount that was supposed to slide on, bolt in the side, bolt in, but it didn't look right at the end. You know what I mean? And so 2 days worth of work.
That's a complicated looking machining.
And they all had to match up and this and fuck, it's just, but I didn't care, it just didn't work. And so it just has to be done right. And so, and that's come over time also, because what I thought was fucking badass back then is piss poor, like, fabrication now. So it's all a learning curve and like just wanting to get better.
Well, it's like, like we were talking about earlier, how I'm not a huge fan of the panels.
Yeah.
But when I started doing them, I was kind of just doing what I knew how to do, the basics. And it's evolved into me being able to really have my own style within it.
Yep.
That I love, that I'm happy of, because I feel like now I'm painting. Now I enjoy painting panels because I feel like I'm painting my panels.
Yeah. And I enjoy seeing panels like from you and from a couple other guys because it is their style. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Again, fucking name dropping like a motherfucker, but Buck Wild, fucking dude. I met him as a person first. Mm-hmm. He's fucking badass. And then I started getting into more of his painting and stuff. Mm-hmm. The dude is insane. Like, he has so much.
He's been consistent too for a long time.
And that's the thing. He has done his style, and you can bring him some fucking crazy paint job, and it'll be done in his style, and which it should be, because he's good at what he does, and most people have no fucking clue what they want or how they want it, And so people like that, you know what I mean? Like, he's taken something that's what people are doing, and he can do it just as good, if not 1,000 times better, because of his style. And that's why I told you that. Okay, you don't like panels, but you took them and you're making money off of them, and you're feeding your family, and you're making them your style.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, now, I mean, we talk, going on 2 years of doing it, and now I love it, and I only want to do it.
Yeah.
But I also like it because it's evolving. Like, if, I look at some of my closer friends, and, I always want my close friends to have our work on it, and I do it, and then I hate it 2 months later because I start doing a style that I'm really fucking digging, and I want their bike to be this now because that's what we're rolling around with.
Exactly.
Instead of like, I did that a year and a half ago, that's not really my thing anymore, Yep. And I mean, I feel like the shit we give a customer now is dope, but since I see it all day and every day, 2 months from now, I feel like what I'm going to be doing is doper.
And it should be. Yeah. It 100% should be. I mean, and if you stop doing that, then you just might as well just fucking get a regular job.
Yeah, I've always felt like if I feel like the best things I've done was from a long time ago, then I'm probably done.
Yeah, I love every bike that I've built. All those ones in the garage, man, fucking love them to death. But I'd change, if I were to do them now, I wouldn't change.
There's no way I could do the same thing again.
I wouldn't even change the way, but I'm like, man, I'd do that till, like, the fucking blue bike.
Yeah.
I made that oil bag in a day. You know what I mean? It wasn't my best work. It fucking looks great. Yeah. But I would totally redo that oil bag, and it'd take me more, and every little piece would have been perfect.
Yeah.
And it would have been grounded, and just.
So that brings up a good thing, that blue bike. So what was it like when you, like, tell me the process of that show. Like, what was it like? What was it like doing the screening for it? And
So that show was crazy in the fact that I was out here working one day. We had just moved out here. I had just built the bottom shop. So it started originally, not even that section or the office. It was just the 20 by 30, flat roof. I knew I wanted to build this up here. But fucking walking around, walking from the house to the shop one day and phone call. Hey, this is so-and-so, producer of a new biker build-off show.
yeah.
And the same people that are doing biker build-off are doing this. And I'm like, okay, cool. You never get your hopes up because you hear all this bullshit all the time. And so talked to her for a few minutes. She's like, you know anybody around here that you'd like to build against? And I had a couple buddies that like were good friends that we had toured around with and gone to multiple shows with. Called them up. Both of them like blew me off, had better things to do, fucked up attitudes about it, I said, cool, no problem. So went to another buddy that I knew was a good dude. And I said, great fabricator. So I gave them his name. And then they brought up Paul also, Binford. They said they'd already been talking to him. So we had I've known from Binford for a long time, like nothing against him or Rick, nothing,
Yeah.
But from day one, it was, hey, we need you to have this crosstown rivalry, and they said this, and you should say this, and it was like whatever, So long story short, we go about a month or so. They finally say, hey, we want to come out. You're in the final pick or whatever.
Yeah.
So back up a second. So when they called, they said, we want Northern California. We want some guys that have some kind of, whether they're friends rivalry or we just want some kind of rivalry, So I called a couple of my buddies and I'm like, look, this is what they want to do. You guys come help here once in a while when I get stuck. Do you want to do you want to do this? And both my buddies were like, fuck yeah, sure, let's do this, And I said, look, right off the bat, do not plan on this making you famous. Do not plan on you being bike builders, and do not plan on us, getting a bunch of money or even making one build off of this, I was like, if we sold 2 t-shirts, I'd be fucking, happy.
Yeah.
So and they're my friends for that reason. They didn't expect that, and so they were down. So right off the bat, when it started getting serious, I looked at it as these people want us to build a bike. I get to take a month off of my work and they're going to pay us. And I get to hang out with my buddies who that's all I want to do anyway. All I want to do is hang out with my buddies and ride my bikes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, and fuck off in the shop. You know what I mean? That's like this office and my shop are my favorite places to be, you know what I mean? Besides with my wife and kids and stuff. And so, you're going to pay me to do this? Like, this is what I've been working for my whole life,
Yeah.
Of course we're going to take this chance, But we didn't go buy the trailer. We didn't go buy the semi like we were talking,
Yeah.
Fuck, I didn't even print up any shirts when the fucking thing went on. So then it gets they came here and they met us in person, did some filming like of us to see if we were even like worth it.
Yeah, film worthy.
And then they, a couple weeks later called us up and said we're going to come do a second one. And again, I think they were down to like maybe 100 people at that time. Kept just dropping it down, and then they came out one more time and didn't film but just talked to us again. And then they called us back like the next day and they were like, hey, you and Binford and Rick, we want you guys to be the people. It's like, okay, cool. And so basically we're going to start on the East Coast. Those guys start in January. You're the last episode. So you're going to start somewhere between March and May. I'm like, okay, that's a huge fucking, So the guys in January had absolutely no time to get ready. You know what I mean? And like some of the,
it was Prism Supply.
No, they were Prism was in it. I don't remember if they were in the first one or not. Were they?
I think so.
I can't remember.
I don't know. They were North Carolina though.
They were, so that would be in the exactly. And so they're like, dude, those guys, they got some talent and shit. Yeah. And so it was awesome because I got to see. It was awesome and shitty at the same time. Like I got to see their stuff coming out as we were still working on ours. Yeah. So the first 2 or 3 episodes or 2 episodes were playing before like we even got finished. Was good and bad because I didn't like the way that the production people were doing stuff. I didn't like the way they made the show, but the stuff that the builders were doing was awesome. And so it was like I'm putting 20 hours a day in every fucking day for like 30 fucking days, and now I'm in here watching this crap, and I'm like, is it worth going back out there and finishing this bike? But then you're like, no, because those dudes those dudes did their thing and they put some time and energy. So we got to finish through, you know. So they show up the very first day and we're already a week into it. So we'd already had, you know, I had the frame done, probably had the front end, few things done, you know, and it was sitting there. And so then basically they show up, they like stop all production whatsoever, like kick us out of the shop to set the shop up. You know what I mean? So it's their little studio. And so this, I mean, I'm going to be bitching. This was a fucking awesome, the entire time I enjoyed every minute of it. So like, I'm just bitching about how it was fake as shit, but every minute of it I enjoyed. Like it was an awesome experience from the moment when they rolled in. The production crew was fucking awesome. The filming people, like everybody was cool. Yeah. So it wasn't like a shitty time or anything. It was just, it wasn't real. You know what I mean? The shit that they put on the TV wasn't real. So they'd get here and they'd be like, all right, so I want you standing here, you standing here, you standing here. Like, all right, cool. Like, they're like, get a piece of metal and grind on it. I'm like, well, what am I making? They're like, you're just grinding. I'm like, what do you mean? They're like, well, I want you to shoot the sparks over here. I'm like, okay. And he's like, and you pick up the transmission and walk it across the room when he starts doing this, you know. Like, all right. This is still fun. You know, I mean, I'm not like bitching by any means. It's still fun, but this isn't work, you know.
You're role playing.
and I know, yeah, exactly, with my fucking cape and everything. And but I know, and in my head this whole entire time is, you're wasting my fucking time because my deadline is still May 30th. Like, you know, and you're wasting time. And so that's my whole, like, I'm just antsy to work, you know what I mean? And I'm here all day by myself working, and my two other buddies, they have real jobs. So like, they were here every filming day and they helped as much as they could, but they weren't here all the time. So now all of a sudden we do the filming, you know, and then we break for lunch, and then they set the shop up a little differently and film all day, you know, and they do that for 2 days straight. Then they
Did you ever feel like while they were filming, like you wanted to become the producer and show them, like you wanted to be like showing what you thought was cool and what you thought was important? So
right off the bat, the producer was an awesome dude. Like he meant well, but right off the bat, like we said earlier, they wanted the friction. You know what I mean? And I told them, look, they wanted the friction, and they wanted you to do shit that would make there were mess ups. And like I said, look, there's one thing I'm good at in this world, and like I'm not good at a lot of things. I mean, I barely graduate high school, I barely fucking make it through life, you know. But I can weld and I can make some shit. Like, you know, I can make the things the way I want it. Yeah. I said, so I'm not fucking up a measurement. I am not fucking up a piece of this that was something that was thought out before you people even got here. You know what I mean? Like I'm not messing up to make you look better. And so the whole time we fought with that, like constantly. And then they would constantly throw in well, you know what Binford said when we were over there the other day. And then, you know, and that one got good because I've known Rick and Paul. Like, I just talk shit on both of them. You know what I mean? I talked more shit on Rick than I talked on Paul. You know what I mean? It was like, but I knew that would get the fight. You know, I knew that, okay, I'll play into your game there. Yeah. I'm not playing into this that we don't know what the fuck we're doing game, you know? Yeah. And then you start watching the things come out and everybody got suckered. You could tell when they got suckered into one of those. Even Rick fucking got suckered into throwing a temper tantrum that he had thrown the day before. You know what I mean? And it was like, I'm not doing that, you know? So the whole time, I just felt like it was like trying to get there, you know, like you said. And I'm trying to tell them, no, this is what we do here. Like, so it's exactly what you just said. Like, this is what's cool to me. That's not cool, you know. It's not going to help your show, you know. But the whole time they have.
Well, it seems like, you know, you have a huge respect amongst a lot of people in the industry. So I think that's probably a good thing. That
maybe one or two. And I probably paid them off.
Yeah. But I mean, I think that's the cool thing about it is like, okay, maybe you're not fucking, you know, Orange County Choppers where, you know, some dude and watching whatever. Just you're seeing your T-shirt in Walmart, some fucking saggy titty hanging out the side. I don't
if
know
somebody has my T-shirt on, I pretty much know who they were because exactly. I probably
So, you know, it's not some fucking redneck shit going on, right?
Yep.
But we might, you know, a little bit of rednecks.
You see where we live? There's Okies out
Y'all call it Okies out here.
Yeah, we're Okies out here.
But, yeah, man, like you know, you hold yourself accountable to the way they're going to perceive you. And that's, I think, what made a difference between Billy Lane being so popular and maybe some of the other guys that gave in and didn't quite have the personality that he had.
And he did his thing.
You know, you let that production company kind of paint the picture they want. Like, okay, this dude isn't him. So we're just we need some dudes to just be flunkies.
And dude, I'm telling you, it's hard as fuck I mean, you get in that situation and these dudes are in your face. I mean, I saw him do it to like a couple of the dudes that were here, like with us. And like, at one point I was like, hey, you know, to one of my buddies, like, come here for a minute, you know? And I was like, I just need you to get out of there. Cause I saw what they were trying to get him to do. You know what I mean? And they constantly wanted us to, the builder, like, so my team, they wanted us to be interviewed separately. And then my one buddy would come out and be like, man, you don't even know the questions they asked about you, you know? Like, does he always yell at you? And they're like, no. You know, they just didn't play into it, you know? And I 100% was super proud of the way that we were portrayed on TV. We didn't throw there was no tantrums. There was one mess up that pissed me off that this was fucked up because I already had I got the right front end. I had gotten everything right. And the guy was buying for something. So I said, all right, you know what? I'll pretend that we made a Craigslist deal in the dark in an alley one night and he gave us the wrong size fork legs. You know what I mean? And so my buddy came in and I was like, you get those legs from the Craigslist fucking guy or whatever? And he's like, yeah, man, but I think they're 2 inches too long. I'm like, what? You don't have a fucking ruler? You know, you can't make a, you know, but that's something I would have said to him. Like if
it was natural.
Oh, dude, it was 100% natural. Like just joking to him. What? You don't got a fucking ruler? Cause the dude's smart as fuck. Yeah. So I know you know what I mean? And so we gave in on a stupid little things like that. You know what I mean? Because he was basically in my face every day. We need fucking something. You guys are just building a bike. I'm like, yeah, motherfucker. That was what I was asked to do. Yeah. Like, I'm putting all my energy into building this bike, you know?
I feel like, you know, like, not that I suck in front of a camera, so I don't ever really see that ever happening, but you had a hidden camera around me and my brother?
Oh, yeah.
Dude.
So the worst part was when they would leave. That was the worst part. They would leave the fucking mics on us all the time, right? Yeah. We got to the point where we had to we would turn them off, and then the dude would like. So the motorhome was chilling. Yeah. And this is my buddies, but like we had another motorhome there, and we would go in there and fucking hang out with the air conditioning and stuff, and just fucking whatever and he would come in there and be like, "You guys turned your mics off." We're like, "Yeah." He's like, "Well, that was getting good." And we're like, "Yeah, that's like," So we did portray ourselves. And we cussed like we would, we were very ourselves, but the smart ass, some of the smart ass remarks that we were made didn't get on camera. Like,
do you know like the dudes up at the Von Metal stuff at all?
I'm just gonna like refrain from answering on that one. I don't.
You don't know any of those guys up there?
I don't know any of them.
I just showed Britta, my wife, the video of it today. We were sitting down with Brian at from Ness. We were sitting down with him at Hooters.
He's a piece of shit too.
Yeah. So we were sitting down and we started talking about it somehow, and I showed her the video and I was like, I thought this dude was just playing a role for the camera, and then I started reading this shit on Instagram. Like, no, this is who he is.
Yeah, my wife said not to say anything that would really fuck me up in this.
Oh yeah, you're moving up there.
No, and I think I hope that he is doing that. You know what I mean? Like that's. And if he isn't, by all means, that's you.
That's his style.
But that's just not me.
There's a customer out there for him.
There's a lot of customers out there. He's going to get more customers than I will.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I've been on those roads, and like, I saw the video. I wasn't. Damn, can't keep my mouth shut.
Your rigid chopper jockey shifts. You could take them.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it was a nationwide call out. I just couldn't. And that's not me though. Like I'm gonna go out there on a Sunday at 6 a.m. when no one's out there. Yeah. You know, and I'm gonna mash that road and enjoy every minute of it, and not care what people think.
Not set up like 40 GoPro cameras and then come back. You see, that's what I'm gonna do. But you're not gonna do all. Yeah. And again, everybody thought it was a joke when it came out. You know what I mean?
I didn't know what to take on it, to tell you the truth.
And is it real? Is it really taking place?
I still don't know. And that's why I don't want to. I mean. He may be at my door fucking tomorrow with 30 of his fucking lawlessness bikers that are there, and I don't want to like take on that.
You're doing it the right way right now.
No, I mean, like I said, I'm not in this industry to be a tough guy.
Yeah,
I like that was years ago. I'm too old. I'm not trying to like. I say a lot of shit that rubs people the wrong way, and so if you know me, like the way I say it, and you know what I mean, but. It comes off, and I don't care. Like I said, if this guy's upset, cool. I'm sorry. That's just not me. Yeah. You know what I mean? I'm just not.
Well, you nowadays we all have to be kind of like prepared to be called out.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Like you can't. There's no way you can make a video like that and allow a production. Even if that's you, cool.
Yeah.
You you're exactly what I know
Yeah.
Discovery Channel would want.
Yeah.
But you can't expect like a lot of other people not to say, hey, really, dude? Like,
Yeah, no. I mean,
You know?
I 100% agree with you. And that goes with anybody.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
there's a hater for everybody.
and dude, there's a lot of haters for me, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I guarantee. I guarantee that we were probably one of the low, because people, I don't know what it is, the forehead, the fucking, the bad attitude. It's just, there's a lot of haters. And that's fine. I don't care. Because they don't affect, you know what I mean? It just, I'm not trying to fight everyone. I'm not trying to tell you I'm better than everyone. I'm just doing my thing, and I enjoy what I do. I mean, and that's my, that's all I can come up with. I don't know.
Yeah. So after that, like while you're doing the show and everything, like you said you liked the experience. So like, I mean,
I loved it, dude. To tell you the truth, when they left, I fucking when they drove out. So they like finished shooting the final. We were the very final person of the whole series.
Yeah.
So when they finished us, they drove out the fucking driveway and went on their separate ways. And it was like they drove away and it was just like, wow, it's done.
Yeah.
Like, this isn't going to happen again, because when the fuck's anyone ever going to pick me to do that shit again? So it was one of those, like, I took it as a life experience, you know what I mean? And yes, it was fake as shit. The very end, they made us, so they get here. The bike was already done. The bike was done 2 days before they show up to film the bike getting finished.
Yeah.
Because I'm not going to be that. This is, again, my livelihood. This is what I've worked since 2003 for. You know what I mean? This isn't like something I picked up 2 weeks ago, and I don't care if I have to go find a new industry next week. And so I had this bike completed and done running down the street. I mean, we had probably 100 miles on the thing before they showed up.
Yeah.
And so he shows up and he's all pissed. He's like, what the fuck? What are you going to film? And I was like, well, we're going to undo the seat. We're going to take off this and we're going to pretend we're bleeding the brakes, He's like, that's just ridiculous. This isn't enough. He's like, you've given me no drama, no this, and I'm like, okay, I understand, And then I thought back to Chica.
Yeah.
When he tried to start his bike with no gas the one time. Total fake staged fucking performance, right? And if you know me, which a few people really do know how many times I've ran out of gas and had to push my bike.
Yeah.
It's fucking miles. I mean,
Yeah,
I
you got some small ass tanks on these things too.
exactly.
So.
And and I'm not very the smartest person. Like, I get going fun. I'm like, oh fuck, that was 50 miles ago. You know what I mean? And so I've pushed bikes. I've pushed bikes more than some people have ridden bikes. You know what I mean? And so to me, I thought it was a funny joke. You know what I mean? And so I said, you know what? I'll give you that we can't start it because of no gas. And he was like, okay. So not that anyone is going to ever see it again, because I don't even think they do reruns. But if you notice, like in the beginning, we try and start the bike with the light not on, and I'm, no, what the fuck, check the plugs, check this. And then my buddy goes, I don't smell any gas, It was like, oh, fuck, we forgot to put gas in.
Yeah.
So then we pour gas in and then flip the switch on and light comes on, everything, and the bike fires right up, And so it's super fake, super staged, but I didn't care at that point, We put the tank in my backpack and said I was going to ride it off to fucking 2 hours away to the painter.
Yeah.
No, I fucking rode to this end of the street and came back. You know what I mean? Because I had no time to take it to the painter. I had to fucking have someone else take it, And so super fake, super everything, but it was an awesome experience. You know what I mean? I got to hang out with my buddies, got to fucking build a bike that I got to keep.
Yeah.
Put parts on it that I'd never could afford. She
has to go pee right quick.
Okay.
Where do you go?
Let me holler. Yeah. See if my wife's home yet. No, you're fine. Yeah, she's home. So I'll walk you down.
Yay. Hey guys, you ready to let the dogs out? We'll be back.
So the seat thing, dude, I fucking every time you don't ride this you don't ride this, and I'm like, well, we just rode here, like, you know, and then they sit on it. Oh, this is kind of comfortable, you know, and I'm like, like, oh, I see what you're talking about. Shut the fuck up, you know, like it just gets old to the point where
it does get old,
and so you just have to get in that mentality, and then that fucks you over. You got to get in that mentality where you don't pay attention to it. But then you miss out on talking to somebody that actually
dug it,
is a smart dude. Like, you just don't even want to talk to anybody anymore.
Yeah, you lump them all in one category.
And then the dude comes up and he's like, I was. You know what I mean? Like, and I've realized that, like, you know, he's like, I was when I went to go see these builders. Like, I just stood there and didn't say a fucking word. Like,
you know, one thing I would say, I really want to say this. I was thinking about it today because I feel like there's a lot of talented people out there, you know, and I think the one thing, I mean, other than building cool shit or painting cool shit or whatever, I think I sometimes stumble across people's pages on Instagram and stuff, and I'm like, wow, this dude's fucking like amazing. Yeah. Why don't I not know who this guy
do
is?
I not know about that guy? Yeah.
And it's like you were saying, like, you were hitting all these shows up, you were going to all this stuff. Like, people gotta go places.
Exactly.
You have to make yourself discoverable.
Exactly.
You know, you can't, I mean, yes, social media is amazing. It's a good thing. And there's tons of people that follow us, but it wasn't till I went to Sturgis or I started coming to California a lot and meeting people and talking to them. Yeah. It's super awkward to walk into a place or into a conversation or a group of guys and introduce yourself. You know, it's really weird.
Yeah.
It's a lot of anxiety that comes with that. Yeah. But that's how opportunities become.
Oh, 100. You know? Dude, every opportunity in this industry has become, for me, has come from the hanging out aspect.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I was friends with people, and then they got positions that could help me. Yeah. And they didn't do it because of any other reason that we were friends, and they like what I do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I didn't take advantage of it any more than that too.
Yeah.
Like,
well, when a friend reaches out, they provide an opportunity for you. You want to make sure that you don't make them look like an idiot.
Yeah, but that's how the world goes around too.
It does.
Look at all the people that are on fucking the president's fucking staff. Those are all his friends. Those are all people he knew that fucking were smart. You know, down the line. Look at, you know, guy fucking, you get a job as a CEO tomorrow and you need a new vice president. You're going to fucking get your brother, you know, you're going to get somebody that you know and you can trust. You're not going to fucking hire
somebody I can manipulate.
Yeah, so your brother. No. So
that's the deal. And I feel like, you know, a lot of people, like, you know, they just want to do the job and they want to go recluse back away. Yeah. And that's fine, but, you know, you can't be like us complaining.
Well, and see, and that's where I've gotten myself into. I was there, I was out, I was going to it, and I was doing it, and now I've just recluse back away. I've done so many projects in the last 2 years that I have not put on Instagram, that I have not taken anywhere. You know what I mean? Yeah. I used to do these projects, and then we get them done, and you take them somewhere and show people.
You might just be at a stagnant point where, not necessarily stagnant with, like, maybe you just, you know, you're waiting for something to kind of re-fire the inspiration. I'm not
trying to say you're wrong by any means. Yeah. I'm sure tomorrow I'll be like, man, he was fucking right there. But I feel like I stepped away from everything because I didn't like the way I grew up without social media. You know what I mean? And I was in the beginning of this industry without social media, so I didn't know what to do with it or where to take it. So and I started getting very, very, very frustrated on. I got very, very frustrated when I would see, you would talk to somebody, and then the next week you would see them post something that totally contradicted what they were saying.
Yeah.
Fucking irritated. Because I fucking will tell you, like, I have a very bad problem of telling you how I feel. Yeah. But you'll know how I feel, and, like, that's what it'll be. Mm-hmm. So when people would tell me how they felt, and then a week later I would see them doing something else on Instagram, fucking made me furious because I felt like they were stabbing me in the heart because they told me, oh, this is how
maybe they told you what you wanted to hear.
Thank you. Exactly.
Instead of being who they are.
100% right. And that's where I
got to watch my ass on this, dude, because my position has changed through this podcast. My sometimes when I'm drunk, my opinion is this, and when I'm sober, it's that. You know, so it's like it sucks because all my opinions are now recorded for time to.
Oh yeah, I've been thinking about all the shit I've been saying. Like, did I really say that?
I was telling my wife today. We were driving around all over the bay, and I was like, man, I really need to listen to this podcast because I need to remember what the fuck I talked about.
Yeah, exactly.
So sometimes I always listen to the podcast again once I release them, so that I can have that second dosage of, okay, I had this conversation with John. I said this.
Yep.
So don't go talk to fucking Brian tonight. He's completely contradicting what you said to John. You know what I mean?
And that's true for you because obviously I don't do this all the
But
time.
I mean,
so,
dude, sometimes like, you know, like I said earlier, sometimes it's just being on two different sides of the fence. And, you know, maybe one minute I'm looking at this angle and I don't agree. And then you see it this way, I'm like, yeah, I agree to this. But then maybe the next week I'm also looking at it again from this angle.
But the things that I'm talking about are deliberate.
Yeah.
Like deliberately, fuck this, fuck this, fuck this. And then now this is like my best thing. You know what I mean? And that to me I'm not into that. And I don't have the time for it.
Some people do that shit, and I'm not trying to co-sign on them.
Yeah.
But some people do that shit because it makes them feel relative to the conversation at hand. Right? I'm gonna say what this crowd likes to hear. I'm gonna say what this crowd likes to hear. Right? What this crowd wants to hear because it's gonna make me relative to these guys. Yeah. But then when I'm over here with this crowd,
no, you nailed it, dude. That's exactly.
We get a lot of people like that, and you know I'm not trying to co-sign them, but man, I get it. It's hard to have a position and be willing to live and die by that thing. You know, be hated for it, loved for it, or whatever you want to call it. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So, you know, I try to take it with a grain of salt, but it does suck when you see someone like try to portray themselves as a certain thing to you, but then to the public, they're exactly what they were talking shit about. Or
I mean, it's just so I mean, you nailed it, dude, and that's why I got frustrated, and I just didn't want to be part of it. You know what I mean? And I was still doing my thing, and I was still building. I've built so much cool shit, that's what I'm trying to say. Like the shit that I've done it's not stagnant. It's not things I don't want to do. There's some fucking really cool shit that we built, but I just don't have any interest in showing people. Yeah, you know what I mean? It's like I don't know.
Man, I have to say, man, it sucks because like just walking in here, seeing the bikes you got in here, I was nerding out in your garage, and I'm like, dude, why am I not seeing this more often? Because I'm totally digging it. Like, you know, you were talking about how Jay loves the blue bike, and I walk in there and I'm like, you know, I was kind of scrolling through your Instagram before, you know, when I had a chance to kind of check it out. I'm like, man, you know, like what's some good talking points? What's some shit to do? And I was like, no, I just know that you were on the TV show. Yeah. You know what I mean? And you're cool with all the dudes up in Lodi and Stockton. And then I'm get here and I see these bikes and I'm like, totally now. I'm like, fuck, now I want to, you know, see all this shit. And I want to, hey, man, pull this out so I can take pictures of it so I can have that in my phone just like the other one.
Yeah.
You know, so in a sense, I get it. But on another end, just not to combat it, I think that, you know, you have a really insanely good talent and a good mindset on it.
I appreciate
that. And
a
lot of people need to like be mentored in that kind of way. Not that it's your job.
No, not that I'm good at it, but
not that it's your job, but people need to, you know, they like you said, you go to the bike nights with John, you know, they need to, you need to be in the corner having that 2-hour conversation with somebody.
See, and that's my other problem. Go to and that's my other dick. It fucking, I've heard it a million times how big of a dick that dude is. How fucking he doesn't, you know, he thinks his shit doesn't stink. It is the absolute opposite of that. Yeah. Like, I roll up and I don't want to be the center of attention. Like, I want my bike to be the center of attention. I don't want to be. Yeah, so I roll up, I get off the bike, and I walk over in the corner. I don't say a fucking word to... I'd say a word to John. I say a word to Chad from fucking Gearhead, Sam. You know what I mean? It's like, I want to hang out with them because I like them as people, and they don't give a fuck who I am.
Yeah.
And so... But then I go through 12 fucking people, and they're like, yeah, you fucking walked right by me yesterday. Like, I follow you on Instagram. I'm like, I'm sorry, dude. Like, I would have talked to you if I knew, you know, but I just
followed you on Instagram.
Yeah, those douches.
Nah, man, it is hard. You know, it's really a weird thing to try to balance. You know what I mean? And I don't have as many followers as like some people that I know. Yeah. I couldn't imagine being these guys.
Yeah.
You know, but it becomes like this extra responsibility. It really does. Like, fuck. You know what? Prime example. So the weekend before we came up here, we decided to take this trip. We had a big show in Texas. It was the Texas Hill Show.
Oh, yeah.
And the day before we rode, we had a fucking blast. Like, we rode, we pounded. I was with a lot of good people. When we got to the event, it was the day before. And it was a lot of the people I want to talk to there. And then the next day, dude, I just was not mentally there. And people were trying to have conversations with me about the podcast, about the bikes. And I was just short, not in tune. And I was like, man, I need to leave. Yeah. You know, I need to leave because some of these people that have been listening to the podcast, and now they're going to see me and they're like, this dude's a dick in real life.
Oh, and it is. It's true. Because like I said, I've heard it a million times. I've heard multiple people be like, man,
And
now that I've talked
I
with
be
you,
more aware now of more. You know what I mean? Like the more notoriety or the more anything attention you get.
Yeah. You just
like
got to be you.
You got to be more aware.
You just got to be you.
You got to be you.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Well,
not the drunk me or the me having a good time.
The drunk you was good though. I mean that Joe Kid, like, that was a good interview, man.
I'm the fucking retarded brother in the corner. Like, no, but it's weird, and I don't have to figure it out. I'm just giving you my opinion, and I'm open for interpretation.
Yeah.
But basically, like, yes, I am being me. I'm gonna stick to my opinions, even if it hurts your feelings.
If you're a dick, be a dick.
Yeah,
this is what I'm getting at. Like, don't change just because
but I don't think
people want to be. No, I'm not saying you.
Yeah,
I'm saying just in general. If you're a dick, be a dick. If you're a nice guy, be a fucking nice guy. Don't just change because you think you have to be something that people want. Is what I was
feeling like when I went to that show that day is that I wasn't there. I was tuned out. I knew I had a lot of shit to do.
Oh yeah, no, I know what you're saying. It's better to leave because you're gonna be a dick not on purpose.
Yeah, it's like I was. Yeah. I just wasn't there to party. I was there to party Saturday, not Sunday.
Yeah. No,
you know what I mean. So yeah, those are the kind of things that gets kind of tough. But dude, when people are like hitting you up talking about I listen to your podcast or like I love your paintwork or whatever, it's like it's all humbling as fuck. And there's really there's no like, I feel like there's no non-dickish way of taking those compliments sometimes. Like, thanks, man.
Yeah.
Like, no, that's not like he just, ran over to tell me how cool that is. And I'm like,
thank you.
Thanks, dude.
Yeah. Because I don't know what to say.
I don't know.
Yeah.
And I was like, I hope I smiled. Thanks.
Yeah.
Like I hope I did something to show him how I appreciate it. Because I really do appreciate it. But at the same time, like, I'm like, man, like, and then sometimes we're at shows and I'm just like talking to my wife and my brother and our friends are there.
That's my problem.
And I'm just like, somebody comes along and they catch that negative, that complaining part of the conversation that maybe they shouldn't have caught. You know what I mean?
Oh, dude, me and my buddies, we have. Yes, it's that's what I'm there to hang, and you get caught up in it, and you say some shit, and then all of a sudden, like, they take it wrong because they don't know, or you're just hanging out with them and you're not being social. Like, I just don't want to be social. I fucking came here with these people. Like, there's times when I do. There's just times when I don't. And
it just sucks because we're all human still. We all, and I hate even talking like this because it makes me feel like I'm trying to say that I'm here, and I'm not. I'm just like,
but I know what you're.
Yeah, it gets weird. It gets weird because.
Well, you have the podcast now. People want to be on it. So, like, that gets back to that thing. Is they're going to tell you what they want to, they think you want to hear because they want to be part of this.
Yeah, I mean, it's weird because, like, I get a lot of requests for people like, hey, man, you should do this guy, and you should do this guy, and you should do this guy constantly, right? Yeah. And for one, I only do podcasts in person. I don't do the phone thing because I feel like that. I want to have this kind of thing because now I feel like we're cool. Like I feel like you're my friend now.
Well, I mean, I mean,
did we just become best friends?
I don't know about best friends because I'm sure there might be one or two in line that might stab me if I say that. But no, I'm just kidding.
No, but I like the in person thing.
I do,
and
I said, the first 30 minutes we talked, I felt like I knew you way before that. Yeah.
So and the other thing is like I don't want to bring people in. Like, I've had a lot of bagger people I know that want to get on. I was telling my wife about this, that want to get on here. And I'm like, I know who you are as a person. And I don't know if you're going to be portrayed the way that you want to be through this. And I don't want to make you look bad. Yeah. Not because I'm not talking shit about you. Because my audience is listening to this and they're into this type of shit. Oh, yeah. And you're not into this. And you're going to tell them. You're going to be the guy we talk shit about. Yeah,
the fucking studded jeans, right?
Yeah. And I mean, I like you guys. You're cool as shit. But, what you do isn't cool to me. And I tell them all the time. I was like, I don't know why I try to help them. Yeah. But
because everybody.
I want everybody to succeed.
Exactly.
I want everybody to do good. Exactly. But I definitely don't co-sign on it. Like, if they're doing some gay shit, like, I was like, dude, that's pretty fucking gay. Yeah. And I just leave it at that. And they laugh about it.
That you can't say that anymore? It's like a.
I say it.
Yeah, I mean, I do too. But I mean, it's like I'm not making fun of somebody that's gay. I'm making fun of you because you're just fucking being gay.
Exactly.
And
that's what it boils down to. It's like that's how I feel. I don't give a fuck about all that stuff. But man, it's a weird deal, dude. It really is.
A lot of people get into this industry though to be cool.
Yeah,
and I mean that's
what I'm talking about.
Yeah, that's what I mean. You're 100% right.
The guy wants to get on the podcast because he wants to be heard. He wants that exposure.
I mean, I think it's cool. I think it was awesome that you called, and I love talking about motorcycles. And I went through a position in my life where I didn't fucking want to talk about them. Yeah. And so to talk about them and to have the passion that I do again, dude, I'll sit there fucking. And again, talking to someone like I said, if we wouldn't have got along as we did in the first few minutes, it probably would have been a 2 or 3 minute conversation.
Yeah.
But now it's going to be way more because I see the same, the same thing. So,
and it's, like I said, when a lot of people, when Joe and when, John is telling me, and a lot of dudes that listen to our podcast from this area say, man, you got to get this guy on here.
I paid them all.
Yeah. You just, I respect those guys. So it's like, okay, fuck yeah. But, then we get guys there are people across the country that want to get on.
Yeah.
But, like I said, man, it's like there's got to be like, even I was nervous coming over because I don't know what the fuck I'm going to talk about.
When you didn't, like you said, drove down the road, fucking know if you're in the right spot, if you're the right person,
Yeah,
you
so it's weird, but like it's fucking solid, dude. Like it's solid information. It's good insight because, like I said, when you were doing all this chopper shit, I mean, you still are, but when you were doing it then, I was in another world.
Yep.
And so now I was aware of it.
Yeah.
But I wasn't there and I wasn't experiencing it like I would be now. You know what I mean? So I want to know about it. I went back and watched those videos. I to remember it.
Yeah.
And hearing your story and listen to John talk about that fucking bubble in 08. I knew it took place.
Oh, dude.
We didn't really feel it in Texas.
So fucked up here.
Yeah, we didn't really feel it in Texas, so it was like, damn, I didn't really know it affected people as bad as it did.
Yeah. Oh, dude, the house. It was so. My buddy owns a house company. He builds houses, redoes houses, and when that hit, I would go and look at all the foreclosures for him. Mm-hmm. And dude, I would look at 200 to 300 houses a day that was like 7 days a week. Mm-hmm. And like these were people like you just drive around, you'd be looking at this one, and then 3 down, you look at this one. And these were, I mean, this was more fun, but sketchy ass areas in Stockton. Like you go into these houses that have people in them, like it was fucked. It was fun. Like, I mean, it was fun and sketchy all at the same time. Yeah. You know what I mean? You're out in the country and you're going through this house where someone's in the house and they're hiding from you, and you're going fucking Texas, it's not a big deal, but you're rolling with your gun, and you're holding each door shut as you pass it to go to the next, with your foot to go to the next one to make sure this dude doesn't bust out and come from behind you. Yeah. And you're clearing the house just to check the house to see if you can buy it,
Wow.
And so, I mean, it was sketchy as fuck. Yeah. People were living in them. People were like, it was just a fucked up time here, Yeah,
it sucked.
So,
I mean, I don't know how much you want to talk about it, but like what's, you're moving? Is that?
Yeah. You're one of 5 or 6 people I've even told about it yet.
No, all these people.
Yeah, well, you did give out where I'm going, huh?
Yeah.
Told the fucking dude where to find me when I get there too. Talking shit on him.
He doesn't know the address yet.
Yeah, exactly.
So what's the grand scheme of plans? Like, where do you want to take it? I know you want to stay low key and everything.
Yeah, I'm going back to the way we were originally. I want to focus on the single projects. Mm-hmm. I don't want to take my focus in 4 different projects at once. I've got 2 full builds when we get to the new place. Mm-hmm. And I've told them all, and they both are on board with me. They knew what the plan was, and they knew I was finishing everything off before we leave. And then when I get there, start on the one, and then when the one is done, the next guy, and that's shitty. I mean, that's shitty for business because you're pushing people off, and you're.
Yeah, but I'm excited to see what you do, though.
But I appreciate it, and that's why I'm excited to get back into it.
I know that with you being able to, just knowing myself, knowing that if you can focus on one project that kind of time, like that's got to be exciting in itself just to see what you can create.
Dude, I've got 2 projects.
Just however long it's going to take to build this bike,
and each of them I plan 3 months because, and that's going to probably be a little bit more, but they're both versions of what I've done before.
Yeah.
But they're going to be different, what I mean? But it's not like it's not like you're trying to make that white one or where you're creating something that's never been around, and now not that it's never been around, but
I think with you doing it this way though, you're going to enjoy it more.
Oh yeah.
And I think that maybe you will start being able to create some more of those one-off bikes that you can do and put be back out on the limelight. I mean, you might not want to, but
and I don't care about
shit. You got to get it.
I don't care about the limelight as much as people like you appreciating it. That's all. That's all I care about. You know what I mean? Yeah. And the money feeding my kids. You know?
Yeah, it's like a weird thing. You don't want to be like parading it and making it look like you want that attention, but it comes natural when you do cool shit.
Somebody asked me one time, we were fucking hammered. There was 2 of us drunk as shit, and one of our friends that wasn't drunk said, "What would you rather be, rich or famous?" And my answer was rich all day long. Yeah. And the motherfucker, and the other dude standing there said famous. And that just shows the difference in people.
Yeah.
I don't care about, I loved being on the motorcycle covers. I love being in the it was fucking awesome. But it was for a different reason.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was,
It's kind of a validation.
It's
maybe.
a validation of all of those nights alone for 16 hours.
Wondering
a day.
if it's worth it.
Dude,
relevant.
driving home at 2:30 in the morning, fucking one-eyed, coming from the commercial plus in place because you could barely stay awake anymore.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and driving home and going to sleep and then waking up at 6:30 and going back there. And like just having that and just thinking about this part the whole time. Like, I just want to get back there and drill that fucking hole. What if I mess that hole up? I fucking got 35 hours of fucking machining in this thing already or something, you know?
Yeah.
And so that's I want to get back to that one focus. You know what I mean? I want to just focus on the one project. My problem is I got that 1928 single over there that I'm building everything for. Like, that's gonna be my personal project.
So, yeah, man, it sucks because like listen to you talk about this building shit, and now in the last year and a half, I've been like more aware of like all the Born Free shit and all that kind of stuff. It's just they bring a lot of people on those builds and stuff, and it's like I'm looking at your shit and I'm like,
for some reason they have never. I don't know why or what, but for some reason I've never been approached. Never been talked to. I have lots of friends that have done stuff for them and with them. And I don't. It's fucking so goddamn hot down there. I don't care. To tell you the truth. Like, I ain't bitching to like. But I mean, no, there's so many talented builders in there. And yes, when I go down there, I feel like slighted. Not slighted, but like, man, I'd love to be here. But it's not because I felt like they don't appreciate me. It's just like, fuck, I'd like to be right here. These are some good builders. I'd like to show what I can do.
Amongst those people that are doing this badass
exactly.
shit.
You know, and I follow, that's my worst problem too, is before the Born Free, you follow the builders finishing their shit. And, you know, there's 3 or 4 that I always are people that I look at as super talented and look up to. So you follow them, and then you get there and you see them in person. You're like, fuck, this thing's sick. You know, it is as nice as it looked. And, you know, you're like, man, I wish I'd have, you know, but there's so many other shows that I've been to that people are probably standing, you know, the first hot bike we were at, you know, I'm sure there was 20 other builders that went on that ride that weren't part of the thing. And every one of them probably felt the same way I do that way. So every person needs their place, you know what I mean? And I just never fit into I firmly believe that it's the freaking, I firmly believe that it's just some of the, a lot of the panhead, the shovelhead. Like, I just don't buy into that. You know what I mean? I love them. They're fucking badass motors, but they're not going to do what I want. Yeah. You know what I mean? They're not going to. Yes, they're badass.
I think soon. I think that's going to be okay with you because now Evos are
now Evos are the fucking 1987 or the 70s C10 and shit.
Yeah. So it's like I think that as the Evos become older and older and kind of in the history of it, people are going to have to open up to it. And you know, if that crowd can't change and adapt and just let things be cool, they're gonna get bored and you're gonna start doing gimmick shit to that stuff. And it's gonna be.
It's like what you said with John yesterday. Is you can only have so many of these guys, and then they're gonna have to go to something else. You know what I mean? And so, I mean, how many fucking panheads? These guys are there's 20-year-olds now. They don't want the panheads. You know what I mean? Like they're not. It's not all 50s and 60s biker anymore. So. There's guys that did come from motocross that want a Harley because they love the torque, but they don't want one that's going to break down all the time. Yeah. Not that good, well-built panheads will break down all the time.
Not that you can really afford those motherfuckers
anymore. And that's the other thing. Like, again, I came from I put every penny. That's another thing about TPJ.
A lot of those people always talk about how, man, I don't have any money in this. I'm like, bullshit.
Yeah. Like, you've got an $8,000 motor.
Yeah. Like that whole we're broke and we're doing this thing on the slide. Yeah, come on.
Y'all can. I mean, everyone can suck my shit because I know what that is. Like I played that game. Yeah. You know what I mean? I started in this industry with absolutely no fucking dollars. The only help that I got, and I pat myself on the back, the only help I got was the shop space in the beginning that I didn't have to pay outrageous rent on. Mm-hmm. So that helped me a lot. But every dollar that was put into this place, into this shop, was all cash. I don't have any credit. The only credit I have is at one fucking hardware store. Mm-hmm. And I only owe them like $1,500 at a time ever. You know what I mean? And every dollar that I put into this was because of the hard work that I put in.
And I think that's what I'm kind of more bummed about is because, like I said, I'm going back and looking at this shit that I was around for but not paying attention to. Yeah. And I think that a lot of people need to look a little bit past the American Chopper part. Oh, yeah. And start appreciating the people that were in here that kind of paved the way for a lot of what's going on now.
I mean, I ain't saying that I paved it, but there's a lot of my blood, sweat, and tears on that fucking road. And there's a lot of other builders like that aren't getting any credit. or aren't even in the fucking industry anymore.
Yeah,
and that's what's even
exactly.
worse. You know
and
what
so
I mean?
there's, you know, a chopper industry that's priding itself on building and making shit and doing shit. And it's like, maybe they forgot that dudes did that before the American chopper thing. It just got overshadowed by that.
Oh yeah, and dudes were doing it before me. You know, I mean, us, like there was,
and it's kind of like you said, you know, you weathered the storm and you stuck out and you're still here and you're still getting paid to build fucking choppers.
I still haven't taken another job. I like money, so here and there I do side. You know, I'll build a gas tank for a farmer, or I love metalwork. So I mean, if a guy needs fucking a rack for us, I don't care. I'll make it. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like if I got time, let's slide it in.
So I just think it'd be a lot cooler, and even if you don't want it, you know. You don't get to pick whether or not you're fucking in desire or in fame, like being famous or not. You don't get to pick that. So it's like I want people to see shit like that and appreciate dudes that did it that are still doing it, and not just think like, oh, you know, you did the fucking billet chopper stuff. You're not cool. That's not cool to me.
And seeing that, and that was that exactly. Like as you saw all of them, they all have different styles, but they all have my flair. And this was all through, you know, from. So 08 to 2016. That's an 8-year period on all those bikes. You knew they all were built by me, but they all are different. Yeah. You know what I mean? And so that's what I was saying is I pride myself in that and not having, yes, there are customer bikes out there that I've done for this and this and this because they were good guys and they wanted something and they were not what I would have kept or ridden, but they were still my craftsmanship in it. So it didn't, you know, but anyway, so that it, I just don't want to be the fad guy. You know what I mean? And I understand businesses have to roll on fads to make money. Yeah. I just don't care about making money, apparently.
You know, it's like I said when I came in here, man. It's like what I've learned is that, you know, or what I've learned by being around the friends that I've started surrounding myself with and the people that I have conversations with, it's like, just build the shit that you think is cool, you know, whether or not everybody else think it's cool. It sucks that I think FXRs are cool right now, and that's what's hot. Yeah. But I also think that...
Well, I told John,
Yeah, I also think that your choppers are pretty badass, and I'm kind of digging that, and I kind of want to do one of those now, whether... You know, and I like Evo, so I'm like, well, I don't fucking know if I really want to go shovel or not.
Exactly. You know, and like John said the other day is, you know, he said something about fucking you got to just do... Or, you know, he's like, well, I'm in this FXR thing. You know, fucking now it's the fad and everything, and now and I'm like, dude, you had this fucking 9 years ago. Like, you need to ride this fucking... You know what FXRs are. You have the parts. Mm-hmm. You need to fucking ride this through. Because you might not get your next thing. Yeah. You know what I mean? You didn't ask for this fad to be part of it. Yeah. Like, if all of a sudden these are fucking badass, I'm not going to bitch about it. I'm going to roll as fast as I can and make as many as I can. Yeah. Do I ever think it's going to happen? No. You know what I mean? But, like, that's with the FXRs. You got to take your turn. Because it's the big wheel, you know... The guys that jumped into the big wheel bagger or that are jumping into the FXR, they're not as, you know, that they don't have as much. John's putting himself in that same category. He's not that way. He was doing that FXR before people even, like I said, I mean, I didn't even know what the fuck it was when he brought it to me the first time. Like, he brings me this front fairing and these, you know, the lowers, and it's like, I need all these to fit on this bike. And I'm like, well, why don't they? And he's like, because it's not the same. This is, you know, I'm like, okay, you know, because I don't know. I just make shit that fit,
make it work.
Yeah, you know, and I'm like, well, how do the normal mounts look? He's like this, you know, like, oh, those look like shit. So let's make them like this.
Well, you know, what I think is more important is like when you listen to Joe's podcast, you know, Joe Kids, and you hear the passion that he has for these bikes. Like, how can you not want to love a motorcycle that much,
dude? And it's crazy. Like I said, I've known Joe since we were littler. He was always younger, but like to see let's see how much he loves the bikes and what he does to these old bikes that would not get that second life. Yeah. You know what I mean? They would, but it wouldn't be nearly what they are, you know? And he's picking these bikes up that people, you know, and cleaning them and making them roadworthy and putting fucking hundreds of thousands of miles on them. He drives all around the country giving these, you know, taking to people and stuff like. Yeah. There's the passion.
What I loved about that podcast is how many people hit me up afterwards and was like, dude, I'm buying an FXR. I'm getting one. Because they saw the passion that he had for the motorcycle.
He is nuts for the FXR. And I say that in a good way. He's nuts for the FXR like I am for what I do. Yeah. And like he knows, I lose track because it's like there's so much to know. The FX. Well, you're not cool unless you have an FXRT. But if you have an FXRP, like you're a
You
fucking
gotta
piece
look
of
past
shit.
all
Like
that shit though. That's the
well,
same way.
it's good coming from him.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't he just explains it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's like.
Well, bottom line is I know him pretty well. It's like, yeah, if you want to get into the big boy FXR club, then yeah, there's a couple you probably need to be rocking.
Yeah.
But for the most part, I know that he just wants to see dudes
On
ripping
bikes.
on FXRs.
Exactly.
And he loves the platform, and he wants to see it fucking be, he just wants it to be appreciated.
Which it is one of the best. I mean,
Yeah.
again, I bring it back to the chassis. I am a fucking firm believer of the chassis starts everything.
Mm-hmm.
And that was one of the best chassis. You know what I mean? It was before they started doing a lot of stupid shit and making them rideable for everybody. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's a badass bike. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? I still like, even Sportsters are still my favorite one.
I still like Sportsters.
Dude, I love those things, dude.
Yeah.
Like I've made a couple like Sportster trackers lately that I did for a couple guys, and I fucking love those little things. Like that Buell, the one
Yeah.
in there, that's my Sportster. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Would anybody think that's a Sportster? No, but
Yeah.
it's fucking cool,
But that's where it's at, man. That's where it is. And that's why, it was cool for me. And I hope that those dudes also reached out to Joe about wanting to buy a bike and
Yeah.
why they want to get one now, why they're looking at an FXR and not like a brand new fucking Softail or a brand new bagger.
Yeah.
So that's what's cool. And people need to know that kind of shit. And they're going to get more experiences off this bike. And when they pull into a parking lot with an FXR or something hand built, they're just going to get more. They're going to feel more validated, I guess, or whatever, than if they just went and you know what I mean. Just get on a bike. Period. Like I want to see everybody get on a bike.
That's my thing. I get so sick and tired of the. Oh man, it's not a Harley or it's not a this. Like, shut the fuck up. You're on two wheels enjoying life.
Yeah.
Like,
I see you have that adventure bike in there.
Oh my god, that's
I
one
want
of my
that.
favorite fucking bikes. I mean, that's the only bike that I own that I didn't build.
For real.
And I fucking bought it. I mean, I paid fucking a shit.
What is it? KTM or BMX?
KTM 690.
Nice.
And it's the Enduro. So it's. I mean, it
What do you just like kind of go off roading on it?
fucking everywhere. Like I'll leave here, ride to Lake Tahoe, ride fucking 100 miles worth of trails in Lake Tahoe, drop down fucking and come back on. On
You
some.
ever see bears and shit?
Oh yeah, like fucking all the time. Yeah, the bear.
We were trying to find some on the way up.
Oh yeah, you won't find them. I mean, they're
gotta
deep.
go-
Yeah. You got to go looking because unless you're right down by the lake where everybody feeds them, then you'll find them and shit. Yeah.
That's crazy.
No, so one night we're sleeping in a tent that was fucking one person tent, and me and Kelly were in there, and it's so small that you're fucking hugged up on it's one of the triangle ones. So
Yeah.
you're hugged up on the side, and I hear this noise. And I'm like, what the fuck is that? And my face is up against the tent like this. And a dog, a dog when it sniffs, the,
Yeah.
and you're like, oh fuck, that's a dog, but those nostrils are fucking this big, and they're fucking this far from your face, right? And you're like, oh shit. Then I look over and Kelly's sitting straight up crying. I'm like, how long has he been there? She's like 10 minutes. I'm like, why the fuck didn't you wake me up? She's like, I'm so scared I can't move, and I'm like, okay, we got a gun, we got a little gun. She always got tank, but what the fuck are you gonna shoot you can't shoot a bear with a 9mm. It's just gonna fucking get pissed and start swipe, and we're in this tent that all it needs to do is swipe one time, so
Swipe left.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. So basically that's when you throw something over at your buddy's tent and hopefully he goes over there. But no, they're all over the place up
How'd
there.
that
so.
end? Did he just
No, he fucking turned around and ripped our fucking igloo ice chest in 3 pieces, the whole fucking thing, and bit through 3 fucking chili bean cans, like just ripped through them, like it was nothing. I mean, the next morning we woke up. I just sat there with.
How
the
do you
gun.
go to sleep?
Yeah, I just sat there with the gun like this, and then he, followed him around because you could see him and you could hear him and shit,
Yeah.
and he stunk.
And are they black bears or brown bears?
Brown bears?
Brown
Yeah,
bears.
yeah. Well, there's a little
bit
both
of
up
both,
there. Yeah,
okay.
yeah. And so I mean, there's bear. They're all over the place. Up
Dude,
there.
I'd be done. In Texas we have we do a lot of river floating,
Yep.
tubes and shit.
If you got snakes, fuck snakes.
I'm getting to that point.
No.
So
I don't even want-
I remember we used to do that shit all the time. My mom would take us and we'd all go to the river and
Oh,
we'd
yeah.
I loved it,
For
right?
hours probably.
And so one time, we're there, I'm fucking having a good time. I get ahead of the pack, I'm all by myself, just fucking kicking around, having a good time. And everybody's like, Jace! There's between me and where you're at, there's a fucking Mexican with his head sticking out of the water. And like I jumped out of the tube and was standing on the tube, like balancing myself on the tube. And I've never gone back.
Yeah, no.
I'm fucking 35 years old. This happened when I was like 14.
I would never go back.
I'm done.
Yeah.
And I know that like if I was there and the bear happened, I'd be like, I'm done.
So for some reason, I have no idea why the bear doesn't bother me as much as the snake. Snake fucking scares the shit out of me. Like when I drove from LA. That's a fucking good story. Drove from LA to Florida, and to deliver a bike. And went to Hot Bike, shot the bike, left fucking the studio and drove to Florida, and drove across fucking Texas from one tip to Louisiana. And the only time I got out of the car was to fucking get gas. And every time I opened the door and fucking looked at the ground before I got out, because I was so like, it's fucking Texas. There's snakes everywhere.
And I barely have ever seen them.
And that's what I mean.
Yeah.
It's probably not even that big a deal. You know?
I mean, West Texas, like out in the desert or on 10, which probably is what you were.
Yeah.
You're more likely to see that shit down there. But
yeah, it was just nuts. Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of the thing. Like, you always got to get the zip up tents. That way, if there are snakes out there, they're not going to squiggle their way in your fucking tent.
Oh, tent. See, and I fucking bear would eat you up in 2 seconds. I mean, it'd fuck you up in the rattlesnake isn't even a chance of killing you.
The rattlesnake bites you and goes away, and then you're like, fuck, like, I think I can die here pretty soon.
Yeah,
so like, so what do I do next? Can I ride to the hospital?
Yeah, if I ride fast, will this?
I have no service, you know? But yeah, there's a lot of different factors, man. But yeah, that kind of, I went camping for the hot bike tour last year in the Smoky Mountains, and I camped alone in the mountains.
Oh, fuck yeah.
And I was like, you know, I know I've had to tell the story on here 100 times, but I went to the Dollar General on the way up to the campsite, and I got fucking buttercups and powdered donuts and honey buns and all this shit. And I'm like getting up there, you know, I get my fire going. I'm just sitting alone, just, you know, taking it in, popping these things open, eating them, like, and I had service. So I'm like, is there bears in these mountains?
Oh,
yes. Yeah. And I was starting to think like, man, I don't have, like, I was like freaking out because I have these open packages of like sugar type shit. And I'm like, fuck.
Yeah. Oh, in Yosemite.
And I'm at the you know, it's a campsite, right? So there's people there, but they got the
bear boxes. Yeah. Oh yeah.
No, the primitive camping is like way.
Oh yeah.
I'm not gonna outrun this bear down to other people.
Yeah. I'm done. Yeah. So, no, they got in Yosemite. They'll have the bear boxes, and the bears will break into your car. Like you can't have food in your car. Mm-hmm. Like you have to put it in the thing. And I took my kid there a couple of years ago, and we're in the van and. We're all just relaxing, and fucking bear again right outside the door, and he's shaking through everything. And I wake up and I look and I'm like, fuck, there's a bag of chips right there. I'm like, this motherfucker's gonna rip in our car just to get these chips, you know? And he walks around. He didn't even, but it was just one of those things. You're like, motherfucker, these things are like, they're huge, you know?
Yeah, they're fucking monsters.
The mountain lions and shit, the cats bother me more. Like, those fuck with me because they sneak up from behind and like.
Yeah, what's up with that? Like, you know, the first time I ever came here, I wanted to hike Mount Diablo.
Oh, yeah, mountain lions, I think, over there.
Yeah, and I was like, I was talking to Steve, he's like, yeah, we'll go. And I'm like, we were staying somewhere, and I had heard something about a mountain lion attack a hiker, and I'm like, hey, dude, is there fucking lions up there? He goes, oh yeah, they're everywhere.
No, there was one 2 years ago that attacked the dude in Sacramento. He was walking on the river, him and his wife, and he was probably 70, jumped out, dude, ripped the side of his head open, like,
damn,
skull was there, and shit was just hanging, and like, bit him in 2 or 3 spots, and they're quick, and then they like, fuck you up really bad, and then they realize they can't eat you, and so then they leave. And you're like, oh, this is
you just gotta take it.
And they're like, oh, just lay there, they'll stop. No, fuck you. Those are some nasty cats, you know.
How big are those things?
The ones like where you were talking about and in Tahoe, you know, are probably
can you fight the
size of a dog. Well,
because I'll fight a fucking cat.
No, you will have to, like, you know, but it's one of those, like, they're just so quick in their hands, you know what I mean? And they will sneak. So we'll be riding, and, you know, we'll stop to fucking enjoy the scenery and stuff. And you like jump off the bike. And you're like, sweet man, I'm gonna fucking get at it. And then you're like, oh yeah, hold on a minute. You look all around, make sure there's nothing, you know, because you just rolled up in their area. Like they could just be chilling right there, you know. And we've heard like multiple times movement in the forest, but like, just realize you got to jump back on your shit quick, or you know, you just are always paying attention. It's not like a. But I mean, you walk down the street in Stockton, you got to fucking pay attention. So I mean, it's not, you know.
Some you know, Walking Dead zombie over there is not gonna fucking.
They're not gonna sneak up on me the same way.
They're not gonna swing at me the way the fucking mountain lion is. So.
And they're quick, dude. They don't fuck around. Yeah,
that's crazy.
You know, that's why the bear. it's fucking huge and it'll eat you in 1 second, but it's not the same.
Yeah.
It'll come at you from the front. You're fucked, but like at least you know you're fucked. This is like, you ever watch that stupid show Alone, I think it is, where they got people live in Alaska?
Nah, I think I've heard about it a few times.
Some dude made a fucking hat that had eyes on the back. Because fucking that was just, he's like, they come from me at the back. He's like, I'm just gonna fucking be double eyes all over the place, you know. And that's how dumb I'd be. I'd be like, dude, I gotta do this shit because fuck these guys. Like, I don't want these cats fucking me up.
Yeah, that's wild, man. It's I guess it's, you know, it's hard for everybody in certain areas.
That's what I'm saying. Everybody's got something, dude.
Yeah,
so I
some
mean,
kind of weird animal.
that's why I can bitch about anything, and then you can look at the other side, and it's, you know.
Yeah, you get all these people that go up and hike through Yosemite and take these amazing pictures, and then you get city boys like me up here like, oh, check it out, you know, got my fucking honey bun, and next thing you know, it's like, I'm fucked.
Oh, and they're no joke over there. Like, those people would be like, no, you have to have this, you can't go in these trails, and you're like, well, it's like, I got my fucking jeans and my tennis shoes, I'm fine, you know.
Yeah, it's like, out here, they don't want you to have guns and shit, but it's like, you know, if I'm going out there, I'm going to have a fucking pistol.
Dude.
A goddamn ninja sword or something. You know?
I'm having 2 or 3 guns. Fuck you, dude. It's better to be caught with it than without it. You know what I mean? That's my theory.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, I'm not a felon, so I don't have to worry about it. You know what I mean? I got tickets on my record. And it gets back to that thing. There's multiple times in my life where that could be different. Yeah. But lucky me. If, you know, at this age, I can roll around with a gun and not as worried.
Yeah.
Yes, it's still Calif. They're still going to rip you, but where we're going next, I don't have to worry about it.
Exactly.
So it's still not as cool as your place.
It's kind of weird when you're like in Texas and especially Arizona, because like in Arizona, you'll see dudes riding bikes with guns hanging out their back. And
well,
I'm like,
that's the one place that it's legal to conceal or rolled unconcealed with no permits.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In Texas, they've been trying to push that end.
Yeah.
It is open carry there.
Yep.
But I don't know if
you still have to have a permit to conceal though, right? Yeah, exactly.
So it's weird, but you know.
But you can also shoot some dude robbing your neighbor's house, like from your house, right?
I mean, dude, I got a gun in my house, and you know, I always think like, you know, we're kind of like, we don't have to lock our doors at our house or our car.
I don't even know it. I don't even, dude. I go. You seen my house? Pretty. You know, we're out in the middle of nowhere. There ain't many people around.
Yeah.
I lock my fucking shop
like
when I go to my house.
Yeah,
like,
when we were in your garage and we came out, we were walking over here. I'm like, you locked the door. I'm like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Like,
no, I like, and it's a I mean, my friends laugh. You know, someone from the Bay Area, and they.
Yeah. Nah, he's just over paranoid.
Yeah. No, it's from where I came. You know, when you grow up, you're like, you know. I would lock it though if you have your keys. No.
Tweakers come out of the fields.
Yeah, the two out of the dude. So we got the river. Which way did you guys come in?
We came from
Stock. Oh yeah,
we came from Rio Vista.
So right over here, there's the river, and they live underneath the fucking bridge. There's like 200.
It was
homeless
pretty over there. Going through the little downtown, they have a good pizza spot. I wanted to check it out.
It's, I don't know. It's probably cool to somebody that doesn't know
what's going on behind the fucking.
Well, no, it's a cool town. No, don't get me wrong. The bums don't even make the town worse. It's just the people. I'm just tired of the people here. You know what I mean? I lived here. You live here for so long. You just fucking. It's too much.
Get over it, yeah.
Little small town. Everybody thinks their shit doesn't stink, and with the exception of John and a couple of these guys that I like did. There's just. And it's California, and it's the bums right there.
It's just how everybody seems like they want to get out of California. I mean, I want to come in. We were kind of. Today, me and Britta, we saw Jay, we hung out with him. Yeah. He showed us a cool shop, and he kind of got me fired up. He's got no
welding talent whatsoever.
Yeah, he sucks so bad. No, we just, he kind of got me hyped up about really want to come up here and make it happen. We talked a lot about it, and then we went to have lunch at Brian's, and we driving back at 680. And I was like, man, like I do like it. And it's like I told you earlier. Yep. I was like, man, I like being here. But I kind of feel like I like being able to leave here too.
See, and there is so many fucking cool things in California, but it's not that I don't like. You know what I mean? That 88 I showed you about, you sent me like fucking this way, awesome stuff.
Yeah.
But I don't. Last year, this perfect example. Last year they made it legal to give people HIV and it not be a felony. You know what I mean? So like you can knowingly go have sex, knowing you have HIV. You have HIV and it's a misdemeanor now.
It's like too liberal out here.
That's exactly. Yeah. Like I love the area, I love the place, I love everything about it. I don't like the traffic in the Bay Area, but whoever is like thinks that the shit that they make, these rules they make are fucking retarded. You know what I mean? And I ain't smart. I think my 10-year-old kid could do a better job than most of the people here, you know? And that's what gets me. Like, I don't want to be in a city or when we travel across the country, you go to Sturgis, you ride on your bike, and people are like, hey man, where are you from? Northern California. and then even then, I just like don't even want to tell them even that. You know what I mean? Like, you don't say California, you know what I mean? And then or you started out with that fucking stupid state, you know, or it's just because you know what their feelings are about it. Like,
you know, a lot of people love this place, and I think that maybe a lot of the shit that's been going on when you talk about that stuff is just people ran out of shit to complain about. They started coming up with retarded things to make them feel like they have a purpose.
Well, they want to make their kids so safe, and they want to make everyone so safe that no one gets hurt anymore. Dude, the fucking 80s was all about getting hurt.
Yeah, like three-wheelers.
Fucking A, thank you. I don't know how many friends that I have that are dead because of three-wheelers. You know what I mean? It's just like third grade, my best friend in third grade, his brother was in 5th or 6th grade, jumped a dirt hill and fucking went into their pool that didn't have any fucking water. Dead. Fucking, damn. You know what I mean? Like, that was the first time I was like, well, three-wheelers ain't no joke, you know?
They fuck people up.
Yeah. Like, and you hear my mom talk about the stuff that like we did and the way I treat my kids. Like, I want them to get fucked up and I want them to learn.
Yeah.
But I also don't want them to get hurt. You know what I mean? So I think the people just went too far. You know what I mean? Like, you can't fucking sugarcoat everything. Like,
it's just like when you talk about, you know, I remember when I was in 3rd grade and 4th grade, I'd be a mile from my house playing with kids in the creek.
Didn't even know when the fuck your parents. Yeah, your parents had no clue.
You know, even with my daughter and stuff, like, she never really left and went far.
Shit, Luke walks to the end of the property and I'm like, hey, get back. You know, it's like,
no.
They're not fucking gonna hurt you out here, you know. So
it's just I think it's the times are different or a thing. I think because we started seeing more shit and we just kind of subconsciously.
My problem is I've seen some shit. Yeah. Like, and I say that like I know everyone said that. I've seen some shit, dude. And I could sit here and tell you.
You grew up in the fucking 80s and you're like sitting there, you know, you watch the A-Team and you're sitting down in Little House on the Prairie and then fucking John Walsh comes on there and talks about kids getting abducted all the time.
Dude, so
that shit was real.
I live in Lake Tahoe. We're a rental I mean, that's exactly it. So we work in the rental shop. This chef fucking gave us free cheeseburgers every day. Thought he was cool. He's from Oakland. He fucking kills a chick, wraps her in a fucking rug, kicks her in the head for 20 minutes. So if she wakes up and lives through it, that she'll have amnesia and forget it. You know what I mean? And then the dude comes to our house the next day and threatens 5 people in our house while me and my buddy were downstairs. And then he gets arrested 4 days. You know what I mean? It's like,
there's people
seen some shit, like, and that's just one of the like. We go on these road trips, and I tell one of my good friends that like lives in Rohnert Park. He didn't know, you know. I'm slowly telling him all the things of like when I was younger, you know, and he's like, "You fucking have to write a book, like the shit that you've gone through and seen, like." And I don't do it to brag, like, and I don't even not even the tough guy in this situation. It's just, hey man, that one fucking time, remember, like, I almost blew up, you know, and it's like. You know, and he's like, what the fuck? So you tell him the story, and then he's like, Jesus Christ, dude. Like, and so my son is fucked because I've seen it, I've done it, and I've been around it. You know what I mean? Like, right out of high school, I moved to freaking San Diego for a year, and we meet these guys that are cornbread dudes from Nebraska and Iowa, and we're down in Hollywood trying to score drugs, and like, all of a sudden we're up in these dudes' room. There's 4 dudes like in an apartment, and then me and the other 2 guys, and I'm looking around and it's not going to end well. You know what I mean? It's like, it's going real shady. Like, and I just excused myself. I told them, I'm like, hey, you guys, we should just take off. They're like, no, we're good. You know, I need my drugs, you know, you're young. And so I was like, cool, I'll see you guys outside. Fucking went outside and 2 minutes later, they come running out the fucking door. Dudes tried to rob them. You know what I mean? It's like in high school, we used to have dudes come up to our parks. We'd be at a park drinking. You know, in high school, you should be able to go to a park and drink.
Yeah.
Shouldn't be able to fucked with, right? Guns pulled, knives pulled, like dudes robbed, like fucking leaving a park. A dude standing in the middle of the road, all bloody, with a knife, pulls my buddy over and he's like, give me a ride. I just stabbed somebody and I got to get out of here. It's like, that was our Friday night. You know what I mean? So I don't want my fucking kids going. I don't want them around that. Like, I don't even want them in that situation. You know,
well, you don't want to take them to Reno and they end up being like Von Metal, though, do you?
That dude's awesome, man. What are you talking about? I think we're already gonna like go find a shop and look for a job over there. No,
I guess the only thing that turns me, like, I love this part, like all this shit, right? Like I love it up here, but it just feels like I'm too used to being warm more. And it's like as soon as you go over that mountain.
Oh, it's cold over there.
It's
You
cold.
guys got the shit, dude. It's usually like 95 right here.
Yeah,
like the
yeah,
last
so,
2
like, right
weeks
here
has
is
been
cool.
fucking miserable. And
But
then,
like in Nevada there, like
that's
that's
cold. I love it, dude. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm sick of, dude. So my shop downstairs, no air conditioning. This is all insulated. It stays at least somewhat all right. That shit gets so goddamn hot down there that like I've spent, well, even my other shop, so I've spent 6.
How have you?
How many
You know,
summers?
I know we
like,
keep going on and on. It's cool, but how do you like it being like this, where you have like your shop on your property?
I love it.
Kind of
yeah.
thing.
I actually, the next spot that we're going to, I'm putting the shop underneath the house. So then it even makes it, so like in the middle of the night, I get an idea and I want to come out here. I gotta fucking put some clothes on, put my, and that's bitching.
And then you might have mountain lions out here.
And you might,
shit.
well, I was
And
thinking more like
tweakers.
bums and tweakers.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
Like, no, that you come
It's a sketch
between
walk.
here at 2:00 with your gun. And yes, we're in the middle of nowhere and there shouldn't be anybody, but there has been, and there has been fucked up stories around, you know? So I first was 10 miles away. So whenever I wanted to work on shit, I had to get up, drive over there, open up the shop, do whatever. And so now it's like this. And so now I even think this is too far, so that gets back to that bitching thing.
Mm-hmm.
I love it because I don't have customers every day. You know what I mean? If I have a customer that's coming here, it's somebody that I've talked to multiple times. They're serious about what they want to do.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't worry about them seeing, what we got type
I feel
thing.
like when I actively start on these thoughts of doing the bikes like you and Oliver and my friends that I've been inspired by
Yeah.
to do, I feel like when I start finally doing them, maybe I won't want that storefront where they're coming in and talking to me all day.
You won't. Dude, I'm telling you, so I love when the people came to visit my old shop. We were down in an industrial area. The people that would come had interest in being there. So I enjoyed it. But then all of a sudden you're 2 hours later and you've not got anything done. And then now you got to go to lunch. And then you come back and some other dude's waiting there. You're like, so then I started just locking the door, which that is the worst fucking thing. And people are shaking on the door. And they're
Yeah,
like,
be
this
still.
fucker ain't even here. I'm out of here. So no one wants to spend money, and you don't know which one wants to spend money and which one wants to hang out. So I fucked myself, but I just don't want to be that. I'm not, John has it set up down there where he runs the shop and his guys do the work. Well, I have to work here. So when I'm not working, I can't pass it off to somebody else. Like I can, but then I got to pay them a shit ton of money. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And so that's why I just got to the point where I just do everything.
Yeah, what you build though, what you do here is very, it's all your hands, 100%.
Oh yeah,
But you've built
the paint
a name,
and the powder coat. Yeah,
you've built your name to the point where like I'm assuming that you get the money that you need to get to do these things, or a relative.
he seemed like a real intelligent guy when he got here.
Yeah,
No.
relatively, you make the kind of money that you need to make to be able to do one for 3 months and another one and line them up
Yeah.
that way.
If you do it correctly.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's just like if you restore cars, like, a $70,000 car restoration is nothing if it takes you a year to do.
Hey,
But
yeah.
if you can bang it out in a month or two, that's good money.
Exactly.
So-
If you're 4 years deep and you're still working on that $10,000 bike, you're
Yeah.
fucked.
So, I mean, I guess that makes sense. And like I said, I haven't started doing this chapter of what I want to do with my bike builds. And I think that when it does, maybe I'll do all these dreams of having this shop and this showroom and all this stuff. And then I'll start building a bike, and then I'll start realizing what I want then. And I think that's natural human progression, just to kind of like go on what you think you want and experience it and realize you don't or you do, rather than saying,
Yeah.
you know what, like to me, I got to have a storefront. I got to do it.
Well,
And I got to realize I don't want it.
Yeah.
to
Oh, when
get
I
next
started, dude, I did oil changes. I fixed brake
Yeah.
lights. I had guys coming on a Tuesday needing to have their bike on a Friday for a run that they had to be
Yeah.
at. And something would be totally fucked up, and I would make it work to get through the next couple weeks. Mm-hmm. And then they'd go get it fixed whenever they could. I did all that, like years of that, like oil, dude, fucking oil changes you do. But that's what you do to start
Yeah.
your shop, and then you do the builds as you can get them. So I've done all that. There's awesome money in it, and I'm not a smart enough businessman to make it work.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like John has that set up where he gets them in, these guys do their work, he knows it's fucking 3 hours. He doesn't spend 6 hours on it.
Yeah.
He spends 3 fucking hours on it, or I spend 9.5, because I find 12 other things that I want to make look right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't
Well-
like how your brake line is fucking sitting over there, so I'm going to reroute your whole fucking brake line, and I'm not going to charge you a fucking penny, and now I'm just working for free.
Yeah, so I mean, I get that part because, like I said, the bikes that you're building are really works of art that function. So you're going to have a lot more. You care more about that than
exactly.
Not that you don't care about the oil changes, but I mean, how much passion can you have for an oil change?
Exactly. You do it because you love motorcycles, and you want to do something, and
but
you have the
when you build a bike like you build, you're building like a legacy, if you will. Like the bikes that you're building,
I strongly disagree with that, but I appreciate that.
you're putting like.
I'm building a collection for myself.
Yeah,
that's pretty much what I'm doing.
Let's say that you're building a real collection of bikes, and you're putting, your thoughts out there, and you want it to be you like it, and you want people to respect it.
Yeah, and I like the fact that each one of them is totally different. That you can line each one of them up, and they are totally 100% different.
Yeah.
From the I just don't like doing things twice. That's a problem too. You know what I mean? Business is making fucking repetition. Like
it does suck. I mean, I got 20 fucking Simpson helmets to paint.
I heard. Yeah, that's too much.
It's fun.
It's
awesome.
Good. Yeah,
but it's like you said with the bikes. Like I mean, literally, I keep saying this, and I'm not doing it, but I could probably just live off doing the helmets if it continued.
Yeah.
But the one thing I'm realizing is they're fun to do, but it's 20 different paint jobs as opposed to
the same.
I might do 20 bikes a year.
Yeah.
Or a little bit more than that probably, but. It's 20 helmets. Like that means 20 different color schemes and layouts and things like that.
Yeah, fuck yeah.
And then I just picked up a couple baggers that I needed to get those so I can afford to finish this T-Sport that I'm doing. So
that happens.
I love painting FXRs and Dynas, but they really just get you by.
Dude,
and you got to bring a bagger in every once in a while just to kind of get like fuck you money, I guess you want to say.
Where's this pile of shit? This dude is an awesome guy. Yeah, awesome guy. Biggest fucking pile of shit I ever fucking built. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Built that from the ground. Like, the only thing I didn't make was the frame, but it's like, pile of shit, dude. I don't want anything to do with that, But
got you a magazine plaque.
Yeah, it got me a magazine plaque, got me a good, I got a job off of it, so. Oh, here's that big one I was talking about. That was that,
Damn.
This was the first customer bike for TPJ.
So what year was that one?
This is summer of 08, but that was probably in 07.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, like that's the first full build where the dude came in and said, "There you go, dude. And here's a fucking chunk of money." I had done all sorts of like half builds, where you took the bike, took the whole thing apart, changed the frame, changed this and that. Where this guy just came in and was like, "I saw your shit. I want your shit.
Yeah,
there you go.
build
Let's
it
go."
all.
So, and then we had three. I think we had like two full build, that I'd built for us. Like that, just like, hey, this is what I like. This is what we're all about, and that's what got those. So yeah. But those magazines, I could have taken fucking a year and a half to come out too. So it could have been a little earlier.
So man, you're not here much longer. You're going there. You're just gonna keep doing, see what. How it all unfolds. I guess.
I'm gonna I mean, I'm gonna try and come back a little bit, but whether the motorcycle industry even wants to see any shit again,
dude, I think you should, man. I think you should,
See, my problem is I'm from the guy from the magazine era. Being in the magazine made you fucking relevant. Mm-hmm. Now I go fucking week before I and then I post shit that I like. You know what I mean? That's the other problem. Like. If you look at my Instagram from 2 years ago, totally different than it is now. Because I just have a different mentality. It was all build pics and it was showing my weld and showing this piece. And it was like awesome seeing these bikes come together. But then it just got to the point where I just liked working. And like 3 or 4 days, I'm like, I didn't take a picture of anything. And like, am I really a builder? Like, these guys take pictures every 5 minutes, like this too. So it's like
with the TIG welder in here.
Yeah, fuck, dude. Like,
you'd be like Jay, huh?
Yeah, that dude can weld though. I gotta give him some shit. Yeah,
the taking pictures of shit, man. Like, I do it because
you have to.
Yeah, I have to.
Yes.
But also, like, I'll go home and lay in bed next to her, and I'll stare at those pictures for hours.
No, I do that with my shit. Like my personal stuff, I have 50. That fucking KTM in there. I got 70 different pictures of that shield that I made. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? With the fucking all the light. I like this way. This way. But like if I'm just working on somebody's thing, I just get rolling, and it's just I don't know something about it. I just don't. Mm-hmm. Well,
dude, we're at 3.5 hours.
That's way too long. You should cut that to like 45 minutes.
No. So, I mean, would you have any kind of ways people can check your shit out?
Instagram is TPJ Customs. TPJ Customs.
Is it
The
all like
website
one
is
word?
tpjcustoms.com. Yeah, all one word.
Cool.
I don't go to Facebook much anymore.
Yeah, that's just for old people.
Yeah, I was thinking that. Yeah, my mom has that now. So.
Are you gonna be at the bike night on the?
Oh yeah, for sure.
This won't be out by then, but you know. Cool.
Yeah, I don't give a shit.
Yeah, it'll work.
Dude.
Well, shit, we appreciate you doing this, man. It's fucking awesome. I've been enjoying it.
No, I
Hope
I don't usually talk to people for more than like 10 or 15 minutes.
Yeah, there
So
you go.
3.5 hours fucking.
All right, man. Thanks, Freddie.
Thank you.